This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys? Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business, car key replacements, and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Boys and girls, yes, sir. It's a beautiful Monday. You should be happy. It's a great Monday overall as the Miami Dolphins get the win on Sunday. They are 1-0. They beat the stinking Patriots. They own the Patriots. Tua owns the Patriots. It's a good day, man. It's a good day. It's a good day. I didn't have to use my AK. So I love it as the boys now get ready for a little Baltimore Ravens action this week. So we'll move on and get to talk about that this week. Looking forward to that. The Ravens took advantage of a terrible Jets team this week. So we will watch the Dolphins take advantage of a Ravens team this week and go 2-0. So I hope you all are doing well after a 20-7 domination of the Patriots, a game that was never, ever in doubt. And that's the beautiful part about yesterday, that it was a game that I never felt like the Patriots had a chance to win the game. And that's actually pretty cool to kind of feel that way, that they did not have a chance to win the game. We got a bunch of guests today. Ira Winderman will stop by at 10:30. Tim Hardaway inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame over the weekend. So we'll talk to Ira about that. Alan Poupart's going to join us with his EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. We'll get his thoughts on what he saw yesterday. Andy Behrens, get your fantasy football questions ready. Don't post them now on the chat board because they will get lost because it's too many people will get on the chat board. But if you want to send them over on the text line, that might be a lot easier for me to find them for you at 855-912-1056. That's the Welt and Rayom text line, 855-912-1056. Remember, Mondays and Fridays at noon, it is the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. Andy Behrens on Friday, Andy Behrens on Monday, Scott Pianowski on Fridays for the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. Marcel Louis-Jacques will stop by at 12:30. Mike McCoy will wrap up also with the Canes and preview what's coming up with Texas A&M. We will remember tomorrow Mike is back with the Miami Hurricanes Watch. 1 hour of hardcore Hurricanes talk, 8 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays. Saturday, Mike, myself, Sean, everybody, maybe even the Seaman. He just had a baby, and congratulations to the Seaman and his lovely wife as they welcomed the new one into the world, which is awesome. So good for them. Everybody's happy and healthy, which is an absolute blessing. So I don't know if the Seaman will be with us on Saturday, but so we will. On Saturday, but we will have that pre and post game show for you. That's going to be a late ass post game show. All right. Something tells me it won't be a very long post game show, but we will have a post game show for you on Saturday. Got to show up on Sunday for a game against the Ravens. So yeah, that's going to be one hell of a challenge. But anyway, so that's your lineup. And remember, next Tuesday, we will add a new show. Okay. And it's the College Gridiron Roundtable. And that's going to be Manny Navarro from The Athletic, Ira Schofel from the Seminoles, and the managing editor of War Chant, warchant.com for you Seminoles fans, And then my man Kevin Brockway, and I was chatting with Brockway over the weekend, and he sent me an article back in the day when he was with I think it was the Herald or the Miami News or something. Anyway, so Brockway is going to be joining us. He covers the Gators for the Gainesville Sun. So we got 3 guys that are in the locker rooms covering the teams. So for you Canes fans, you get 2 hardcore hours of college football talk, right? Because you've got Canes talk during that 7 to 8 hour, and then obviously Mike, full hour of Canes talk. So a lot of college football talk on Tuesday nights, and that'll be obviously stuff that you guys can download on demand whenever you want. The next day in the morning, while you're driving to work, you want to catch up with what the guys on the College Gridiron Roundtable said. You've got it there. So we will get that going for you next Tuesday. Saturday, we'll have pre and post for the Canes. Sunday, we'll have pre and post for the Dolphins. So we've got you covered 7 days a week here on the platform. All right. Let's see. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? So yesterday, Manny J. Snow, thank you, sir. He says, my first game at Hard Rock in 42 years was amazing. Sold out. Finns win. Met Big O. And most important, I got to spend time with my children. Awesome. That is awesome. That's a blessing right there, man. That is awesome, Manny. Thank you so much. And I'm glad man, 42 years. That's too long, Manny. Yeah, that's way too long. And this is a really good season. So I hope you come back for more games. I know it's not easy, obviously probably take some money and all that stuff to travel and everything. But if you can come back, man, don't make it 42 years. Things are going to get good around here. We're going to have some fun with the Dolphins finally. We haven't had fun with the Dolphins in decades, right? I think things are going to turn around. I know it's only one game, but I love the vibe of this guy. I like the way he coaches. Yesterday, that 4th and 7, that call was awesome. He has shown a lot of connection with his players, and he shows a lot of belief and support in his players. And listen, when you get married to your husband or your wife, right, or you've got kids, there's going to be moments where it gets hairy, where it gets a little thick, right? And it's about, staying strong and supporting your family and helping them get through, tough moments. And as a coach, you got to do the same thing. You know that there's going to be rough waters ahead because that's life. Life is going to, kick you in the ass. Like you tell your kids when they're growing up, and you try to bring them to reality that, listen, you've had a great upbringing, you've gone to school, all that good stuff, but life is going to kick you in the ass. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to face all kinds of adversity, and you're going to need a support group. And that's part of being a coach. And he's done a great job of supporting his players and giving them an atmosphere where they can be themselves, which allows them maybe to also maximize their talent. But if you kind of put them in a shell and you don't allow them to be themselves, then maybe you may not maximize what you got going on. See what I'm saying? The Belichick stuff is interesting, right? It's a great dynamic because there's so many championships and so many people talked about how miserable it is to play there, unless at the end of the game when you win and you get to celebrate for a couple moments. But it was really Tom Brady, right? Because Tom Brady went to Tampa, opened up, and he ended up winning a championship and then went to the playoffs again last year. And guess what? He's 1-0 after last night. And Belichick is not. So you think about it, maybe that's kind of the environment you need in today's world. Lord knows if you've been around young people, they can't be raised the way a lot of us that are older were raised. That hard-handed approach, that tough love approach doesn't fly a lot. And he clearly has a connection. After the game, there was a video that was posted. And Sean, if you can, bring it up for us here. And it's the moment where they give him the game ball, and then he has an exchange with the players. And you saw it on the podium. the selfless approach that he took to all of this. And it's very important to have that selfless approach because in the end, he talks about how he's there to serve the franchise, serve the players, serve the people that work with him. That's his job. And you can tell that he doesn't lose sight of that even in the moment of success. And here's the moment where they hand him the game ball and his reaction to it. Play it there, Sean.
Hi. On behalf of Stephen Ross, Tom Garfinkel, the entire Miami Dolphin organization, congrats on your first win as a head coach.
Yeah. So I didn't do. I mean, you want to get me emotional? You want to get me emotional, guys? I mean, it means the world to me. But you know what? I'll take that, and I'll return it back. Everybody's getting a game ball. Because this one is one we can remember, okay? This one is one we can remember as the start of it. All the buildup, I'm so proud. We could feel it during the game. Things weren't necessarily going the way that we wanted to. But we didn't crack, okay? We were complimentary 3-0 turnover battle, okay? That's how you win football games, okay? We're going to learn from everything. I know I'm going to be proud of the stuff we put on tape, and we're going to clean it up, okay? But that is what we do it for. And I was just so proud of you. Honestly, I just love you guys so much. I appreciate it. It means the world to me. Hey, how about Tua? Tua, get in here and break us down, okay? Get in here and break us down. All right, let's go. Everybody in. Family. I love you guys, man. Good win. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Family.
Be good if I turn on the mic. There we go. And good moment, man. Good moment for the coach. Good moment for the team. You want all that work to actually pay off. You know what I'm saying? And that 4th and 7 call, that's a ballsy call. That's a call that your players are like, whoa. And then they're also like, wow. Because they're like, whoa, you're going for it? And wow. You're depending on us to make this play. And so the quarterback made the perfect throw. The receiver made the perfect catch, broke an arm tackle or two, and was off to the races for the touchdown. So great call by the coach, great throw by Tua, and great play by Jalen Waddle. It was awesome to watch. And that is part of the connection that they have. The guy that constantly is trying to instill you with positive reinforcement. And then he reinforces his confidence in you by making a very key call in a moment in a game where, folks, that was the nail in the coffin. That was the game right there. That made it 17 and it was over, brother. That was the kill shot. The rest of the game didn't really matter after that because the Patriots never had a chance, never ever sniffed it, never ever got to be a threat. That was the kill shot. The biggest call of the game was the kill shot. Of course, there's a crap ton of other plays. X in the end zone and Holland making the interception and Kader Kohou forcing a fumble, breaking up the pass with Hunter. I mean, there's so many things that went on. Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer, Jalen Phillips recovering the fumble that Kader Kohou caused. We could go throughout the entire roster on defense and Agba with the sack. So many different players right? Zach Sealer, as always, making plays. It's just ridiculous. It was awesome. It was awesome to watch that there was so many people contributing to that win, right? It was a great team win. That's the one thing that you loved about it. Was it perfect? Of course not. The running game is still broken. They had some injuries on the offensive line. There's some things, that Jalen Phillips, I still don't want to see him in coverage, and you still did it. I don't want to see Nick Needham on the outside. I want to see Cater Kahu on the outside and Nick Needham in the slot. That's where Nick Needham belongs. Nick Needham is a very good slot guy. I get it. Maybe he has this, image of himself as an outside guy. Maybe he can be, but at the moment, I've never been impressed with him on the outside. But Cater Kahu, I have. So, can I nitpick little things here or there? Tua's got to make some key decisions at times where when the play is done, hang on to the ball, take the sack, or more importantly, when the plays, you think it's over, throw it away, right? There's little things here and there that you've got to clean up. Although a lot of those are little things, the running game is not a little thing. That's the only thing that I think is enormous. Everything else is small that you can fix with the reps and experience and all that stuff. And hopefully Tua will not have a couple of those brain farts where he almost turned over the ball in those situations. But outside of that, it was a really good game for the team, and they ended up winning. And that call at 4th and 7, part of any relationship is what have we talked about, right? Is nurturing a relationship. That's the problem with Flo. He never nurtured relationships because he was too busy trying to, command you, basically. And so there was no real connection. So this guy has tried to make a connection with his team, and he has. But when the games roll around, that's when it counts, right? Because everybody talked about, oh, no, hey, this is all good, and he's smiling and laughing and joking with the media and all that. But I want to see when things are tough, how he responds. Well, 4th and 7. He didn't flinch. And that call right there, that call is going to go far with his football team. Because that call says, I believe in you guys. What more do you need me to do? And then they're going to say, thanks, coach. We're going to meet you halfway, and we're going to go through every wall that you want us to go through. Because that's what that 4th and 7 call does. That's what the constant support does. That's what the constant positive, feedback does. Now, is he going to rip into him? Is he going to tell him about things they didn't do? Of course he is. All coaches do that. Behind the scenes, we're not going to see it. But he's going to do it in a different way. He's not going to do it in a way where he's actually talking down to the players. And that's kind of very important in today's world because people are a little bit more sensitive in today's world. He did a lot of connecting yesterday, not just winning, but connecting with his team and earning their trust in real game-like situations. And that's going to be really, really important overall. 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line. That's 855-912-1056 on the Welt and Rayom text line. Samuel says, good morning, Big O and Sean. Great win yesterday. No run game. Imagine what the offense can do once they get the run game going. Yes, they will be much better. Tua will be easily going over 300 yards every week once you get that run game going because there's no play action. You're not scaring anybody with that run game, and that's a problem. You can only scheme so much. And that's going to be the issue. Now, maybe you're going to see more of that this week against Baltimore. I don't know. That I'm interested. There's while I wasn't happy with the run game, and who could be? You can't be, I can't be. I'm sure Tua can't be either. Um, I wonder if the game plan for this one was not to scheme too much in that because I didn't see a lot of movement on the line where you were trying to do a lot of misdirection stuff. And I'm wondering if maybe you might see more of that in the Baltimore game this week. Not sure. Not sure. I'm not I don't have enough I don't have enough track record yet to know what the hell Mike McDaniel's going to do. So I gotta see. I gotta wait and see. It's only 1 week. Listen, you can't get too high about the win, and you certainly can't get too low about the win. Okay? Anybody that's even low about the win, think about what you're doing. You're complaining? Like I had a couple buddies reach out and, you know, still complaining. I'm like, dude, please. It's like ridiculous. They won. You make it sound like, you've been rooting for this elite team that's been winning championships and going deep into the playoffs, and they didn't open the season up to your standards. Shut up already, dude. Please. Dolphins won. They dominated the Patriots. They dominated the Patriots on a day where they couldn't run the ball, on a day where they really still can't pass protect the way they really need to pass protect. And they dominated the Patriots. That's all you have to think of. They didn't even come close to playing their best football, and they dominated the Patriots. I don't know how that is not absolutely freaking awesome. I don't know how you're not feeling really good about that going, yeah, wow, that's right. They didn't play a perfect game, yet it was an absolute domination. I wonder if they start cleaning up things. It's only game 1. If they can actually get better from here, well, guess what? This Miami Dolphins team might be pretty damn good. Instead, I got people that are like using it like it's the end of the world. I got people that they make it sound like they lost yesterday. Absolutely awesome. Gotta love it. Let's see. What else do we have? What do we have? The fresh after game 1, FinStats points allowed, second, giveaway takeaway, second, yards allowed, 6, Tua's 5th QBR, and haters in these chats. Yeah, but whatever. You got to remember, there are people that are entrenched on their side. So they really can't give in because then they're going to be wrong. You know what I mean? So they've got to reach and try to do anything they can to justify their position. So it is. So, here, Nelson Alfonso, Big O, I'm sorry, but I just look at both teams on paper. I can't help but feel it was an underwhelming win. Think about that. Nelson, my brother, I appreciate you. Met you over at training camp. That's ridiculous, bro. You're acting like you're following Shula's Dolphins or something. I just told you it's a dominating win and they didn't play well. How can you not be happy with that? A dominating win and they didn't play well. And I'm sorry, Nelson, did you think they were going to fix every problem in week 1 in an entire offseason? I had a buddy of mine yesterday goes, well, I guess we're still going to be second to the Bills. I'm like, dude, that's a ridiculous statement. Who the hell told you they were going to pass the Bills this year? Really? Think about how dumb that is. You don't have the talent near the Bills. That's the kind of thinking that goes on. And it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but that's the microwave society we live in. That's a person that thinks that McDaniel takes over and in one offseason, not only are you going to correct your issues, But you're going to take the field and become a better football team than the Bills when it took the Bills, 3-4 years to build this where they're at now? Right? About 4, no, maybe 4 or 5, actually. Am I right? What year is this, Sean? Sean, what year is it for Sean? Sean, tell me about Sean in Buffalo. What year is it for Stanley? Tell me about McDermott. I want to say this is like his 5th year. So it's taken them years to get to this point. And I had a friend of mine that thinks they were going to catch up. Their 4 or 5 years of work, because it took them 3 years alone just to develop Josh Allen. So their 4 or 5 years of work, and the Dolphins are supposed to, cut that gap in 4 or 5 months. I lost my shit yesterday when I saw that text. Well, I guess we're going to be second to Buffalo. Like, what the hell are you thinking, dude? Yes, sir.
2017, he became the coach.
5 years. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. Actually, this is his 6th season. So 5 years, and you wanted him 5 months to catch up to the Bills. Like, I really wonder about some of you out there as fans. I really wonder about your knowledge of football. Do you really understand the game? Do you really understand how freaking hard it is to do what they're doing? And to become a champion, you just, it just doesn't happen overnight. The Bucs had a championship caliber team, or pretty close to it, and Jameis Winston was throwing 30 interceptions a year. They were the 10th rated defense in the second half of that season. They went and added Tom Brady, and then they went and added, obviously Fournette and a couple of other things too to kind of finish it all off, Gronk and whatever. But still, they were building that defense up to that point. It takes a few years to get throughout all of this. You just don't do it overnight. It would be nice, but that's just not the case. So to sit there and say you're not impressed or unimpressive win, it's actually a very impressive win. A rookie coach, for a bunch of new players on offense, a new scheme, and by the way, not like the entire offseason. You don't have like 15, 20, 25 years ago when I was on the beat and we had 2-a-days and they would hit on both parts of the day and all that. You had a much better opportunity to develop your team throughout an offseason. Now you don't. So after all that, they didn't play a great game and they dominated the Patriots. I mean, for you to complain about the Dolphins' performance yesterday, you sound like a Heat fan that has a championship caliber team and opened up the season against the Magic and won by 2 points. And you're like, come on, guys, you're world champion caliber type or deep playoff, and you're barely beating the Magic. Now, a Heat fan can act that way because a Heat fan's been winning for 25 years. The Heat fan goes to the playoffs all the time. The Heat fan has a standard. Dolphin fans, you can't have any standards. There are no standards. You don't ever make the playoffs. You never have a good team. You never really have great coaches. So now you got to get to that point, right? Well, you got to start somehow. So in a game that you played yesterday and it was never in doubt, you're going to be unsatisfied with that? I mean, that's about as asinine as it gets. Seriously. You're acting like if you were watching Shula's run for 25 years and they struggled against whatever, Richard Todd came into town and hit Wesley One-Eyed Walker for a couple of touchdowns, right? That, and you're frustrated, like, man, they're way better than the Jets, and yet Richard Todd has the game of his life when he comes in here. I remember those days. I can understand when you were snobbish about that. You are not entitled to have any snobbishery with the Miami Dolphins, okay? You are not entitled to be a snob. So stop it. Enjoy the win. Enjoy that you're 1-0. Enjoy that you're 4-0 against Belichick under Tua. Stop being ungrateful, because that's exactly what you sound like. You sound like you're ungrateful. You sound like the idiot Adam Archuleta. Well, why don't we judge Tua through 3 quarters? It's like the game's 4 quarters. Wait till the end of the game. Boy, that guy was just dying to just spew hate on Tua the entire time. Adam Archuleta, my brother, you are an embarrassment. Okay? Just start the broadcast by saying, I'm not a Tua believer, and that's how the broadcast is going to sound from here on out. And that's it. I have no problem with that. But my Lord, were you trying to play and spin and use that clickbait the entire broadcast, my brother? Holy shit. All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk to a man that does cover a stuck-up fan base, a spoiled fan base, one that isn't happy when they struggle against the Magic, and they should be. That's Ira Winderman and our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and sort of like you, even on a Heat report in my Ask Ira, I'm getting a lot of Dolphins-related stuff, so it just shows you how the two things overlap. And a matter of fact, the first thing I wanted to talk about...
But isn't it ridiculous? Isn't it ridiculous for any Dolphin fan to poo-poo a dominating win over the Patriots when you didn't even play your best game, which is actually a great sign, but whatever.
It is, and again, here's the big deal, because you and I have been through this. You've covered the Dolphins for decades, you've covered the Heat for decades. The difference is, in basketball, even the greatest win or the luckiest win is one of 82. It's a small thing. We overreact all the time because that's what we do on talk shows, on podcasts, and I get that.
Hey, listen, when the big three were hot, we would be pissed when they would struggle with the Sixers or the Magic or whatever, and we were like, yo, in that 27-game winning streak, there were many games that they would fall behind 15, 20 points, and then, hey, let's turn it on, and boom, let's go win the game. And it was frustrating. But you can kind of act like that because you're in the Shula run with the Dolphins. Your standard is at another level. Dolphin fans can't be at that level.
And the difference is, Big O, is this. Even those shaky Heat wins, those questionable Heat losses were one of 82. There was perspective. Even the Bulls, when they had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, lost to Rex Chapman in the nobody Heat because
39 points.
But in football, it's one of 17. It's important. No matter how you do it, it's important. For example, I'm a Giants fan because I'm an idiot. And yes, the Tennessee missed the field goal at the end, and the Giants got lucky. It was a typical Giants meltdown. But you know what? With Dak going down yesterday and the division being craptastic, except maybe for outside of the Eagles, you take your win and you move forward. So Dolphins fans, think about all the times in the uneven times when one more victory would have meant a playoff berth. One more victory. Well, maybe that's yesterday's victory. And maybe there were moments that weren't perfect, but who gives a rat's ass? Because I'd rather be the team that walked off the field in Tennessee with the other team missing a field goal with a W than a team with an L. I mean, enough of this team getting an L and saying, but we played well. Come on. That's what we heard here for years. That's Cam Cameron level stuff. Oh, we played well. We're growing as a team. We're failing forward. That was it, right? We're failing forward.
Failing forward fast.
Yeah. It just, so you take the win and you move on. Here's the difference. And the Heat are very good at this, Big O, and you learn from it. But I'd rather learn from a W than learn from an L. Were there shaky moments there? Absolutely. Do some things have to be tightened up? For sure. But better to do it after a W. Better to do it after sort of where you are and where you're going. So, you know what? If you don't enjoy that, you only get 17 bites at regular season joy. It's not like the Heat, where you can leave the arena going, we got the Wizards again tomorrow, we'll be fine. So I think anyone who's sort of poo-pooing what happened, well, that's just your own little miserable life. And stop listening to the Big O Show then, or maybe not, something like that.
Well, I'm trying to bring them into the reality of enjoy it, man. This was a heck of a win yesterday. And how about this? You now own the Patriots, dude. I mean, you had Belichick so flustered. The dude came in here 5 days earlier than the game just to try to see if his team could get acclimated. That guy's trying everything to beat the Dolphins. And Tua and the team are 4-0 in their last 4 meetings. I mean, come on, dude. Be happy.
Exactly. And it was funny because my Ask Ira today at sunsentinel.com, I was asked whether the Heat can emulate the Dolphin speed. And how many years has it been since anyone asked if the Heat could emulate anything about the Dolphins? So not only did they win, not only is there encouragement, but they have a really neat style. I mean, what we saw from Tyreek Hill and from Waddle out there and what they did, I don't think the Heat will ever play a breakneck game. But you know what? Oh, there's only one thing better than winning and having fun. And there were fun moments in that game yesterday.
No doubt about it. All right, let's switch gears here. This weekend, Tim Hardaway got his due. He got into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. I watched the speech. I watched the entire thing. Not everybody else, but especially
I'm like you. I was so happy Tim went first. A year ago, Chris Bosh went last. And I was listening through speech after speech after speech. I mean, when you have like 14 people going in, it becomes interminable. So thank you, NBA. Alonzo Mourning opened the ceremony with a beautiful tribute to Bill Russell. Immediately after Tim Hardaway went up, kept it short, 10 minutes, offered his thanks off the stage. Click, I went to football. It was a good Saturday.
No doubt. Now, the only thing that I don't know, I'm just kind of wondering, the Heat presence wasn't on the stage. And I just was like, it was kind of, if I ever run into Tim again, I'm going to say, yo, man, what happened here? Because I get it. Run TMC was awesome and everything else, but your major success came with the Heat. The stuff that probably put you into the Hall of Fame was the Heat because they were serious wins, that you made some deep runs. You had a hell of a team, all that stuff. I just, the lack of Heat presence on the stage kind of, I saw it a little shady, Ira. So what can you enlighten me on this?
No, I agree with you, Big O. Not only that, but the fact that Pat Riley wasn't even there. Now, you'd never know family emergencies and things. We don't know that. And the Arisons weren't there. And again, Mickey tends to spend this time of year in the Mediterranean and comes back. But I'll tell you this. This is when it's going to become noticeable. Next year, Dwayne Wade goes into the Hall of Fame. I think anyone and everyone connected to the Miami Heat will be in the building. They won't all be up on stage with him, but they will all be in the building. And again, this goes back to what I spoke to you on Friday in our Accurate Pembroke Pines report. The lack of respect for the start of this team's history still is something that troubles me. This will be the Miami Heat's 35th season. To a degree, it's almost as if the first 15 years or so never existed.
Yeah,
and
you're right
that's
about
troubling.
that.
Again, Alonzo was there. Keith Askins was there, a real heart. Maybe the start of Heat culture was there. And I just, like you and I spoke about it, whether it's a Heat Hall of Fame, statues, bobbleheads, or whatever, it just seems like too much of the start of this team gets overlooked. That when you look at the jerseys from the rafters, it's Zoe and it's Hardaway, players who were, with this team in 2000 and moving forward, but nothing there before. Again, I don't know Pat Riley's personal life. He might have had something pressing. That's not for me to say. The Heat did have a lot of really good people there. Eric Spoelstra was there. Andy Ellisberg was there. Adam Simon, the front office, is represented. But you're absolutely right. And I think that the way it ended for Tim Hardaway in Miami, when he sort of was pushed to the side and then traded to Dallas and they realized his knees were shot, I still think some of that stings to a degree also. And here's my last point on this. So many former Heat players have been brought back into the fold. Keith Askins is their lead scout. Alonzo Mourning in charge of player programs. There's never been a position for Tim Hardaway, who has been an assistant coach with the Detroit Pistons, who currently is a scout with the New York Knicks. I think Tim is a little bitter about that also, that this Heat family, Heat culture, and they've done plenty for Tim. They help with his house. They help with his car wash when that business failed. But I think he's sort of looking for the full circle to get back. And because Tim is so free with his comments, I think the Heat are being a little bit cautious, because the one thing we know, when Tim Hardaway opens his mouth, you never know what he's going to say.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's just, but that stood out to me, man. I was like, wow, this is something really odd here, man. I gotta tell you, but I'm happy he got his due. He deserves to get in. He was a great player, and I personally, I got to cover that era with you, and that was a lot of fun. I love that era. It sucks that they didn't. The problem is they don't have a championship, because it was a damn Jordan era too at the same time, and Jordan cock-blocked everybody. He cock-blocked the Cavs and Utah and the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, Karl Malone and John Stockton. It's not like they didn't have great careers. It's that MJ was there at every turn, including twice against them in the finals.
The Pacers, dude, that was one bad-ass team with the Davis boys and Reggie Miller and Rick Smits and all that. That was one hell of a team, dude, and they had no shot because of Jordan. The Cavs, with their three guys, with Larry Nance and what's it called, Mark Price and
Brad Daugherty, yeah,
and Elo also. I mean, that was a hell of a team. There were a lot of really good teams in that era, including the Heat, and Jordan was in the way of everybody at that time. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things. It kind of sucked.
Championships are team accomplishments, especially in basketball. So you can't blame an individual player. Look at who the Heat were playing on the wing at that time. God bless guys like Vashawn Leonard and Dan Marley and maybe Mashburn to a degree, but they didn't have the dynamic wings that we've seen over the years are essential to success. So is it Tim Hardaway's fault that he didn't have a Reggie Miller to play with or a Michael Jordan to play with? It's a team factor. I think people who know the game don't begrudge the Barkleys, the Malones, the Stocktons, and understand it takes more. Just like in the NFL, there have been a lot of great quarterbacks, but there's Tom Brady in the way of all of them. And heck, we even saw that again last night.
Yep, no doubt. All right, Ira, anything being shuffled around here?
Well, we're getting close to something here, Big O. Today, 2 weeks from today, is Media Day. 2 weeks from today is when Ira Winderman, depending when he gets off from work, Orlando Alzagari, are going to go up to Tyler Hero and going, Tyler, you still don't have your extension. How do you feel now? Then the next day when camp starts, Tyler, you still don't have your extension. How do you feel now? First exhibition game. So the Heat are getting to the point where they either have to let us know what's going on, why it's going on, or you're going to have to ask about the Tyler Hero extension. And again, and I've written about this at the Sun Sentinel, this is nothing personal about Tyler. Once you sign him to an extension, you essentially, because of the poison pill in his contracts, cannot trade him till next July. This is more about every single day the Heat don't extend Tyler, it's more about telling you the Heat still think something big could come down the road. Early in the season, after December 15th, when free agents on in the offseason could be traded, at the February trading deadline, Tyler is still stuck in the middle. I think the Heat think there are big moves to be made. Even with the Beals and the Lillards and the guys and the John Collins who were supposedly kept happy because of money and contracts, things change during the season. Wait till the Wizards start 3-12. Then we'll see how happy Brad Beal is. Wait till the Trailblazers start 2-14. Then we'll see how dedicated to Portland, the Damian Lillard is. So again, I think the Heat think another big thing is coming. And because of that, unfortunately, I think Tyler Hero gets stuck in the middle.
Yeah, and Damian's probably going to have a lot of trouble getting into the arena with all the homeless people that are blocking his way anyway. So, yeah, get out of Portland. It's kind of a mess. Anyway, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. And, of course, you can catch him 3 times a week here. He'll be back on Wednesday with the Red Recover Inside the Paint Show. Ira, thank you, my friend.
One more thing, Big O. We're starting our series at the Sun Sentinel today, 5-35. I'm listing the 5 greatest of the Miami Heat. This is their 35th season. Pretty soon coming out online. The 5 greatest wins in Heat history. You probably can figure Ray Allen was part of one of those. So keep an eye out at sunsentinel.com. We'll talk about that in our redrecover.com 9 a.m. Inside the Paint Show on Wednesday. And we'll talk about a whole bunch more lists on Friday in our next Accurate Pembroke Pines report.
I'm sure that the expansion year when they beat Utah will be in there also, because they should have the picture of me carrying my wife, then girlfriend, on my shoulders running out of the arena. So that was fun, actually. I remember
tangled in all that hair back in the day. That's another story for another day.
That's a whole other story, buddy. Appreciate
Talk to you Wednesday. Thank you, Big O.
Thank you, Ira. Appreciate you. Thank you. There you go. That is your accurate Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig's Inn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right. Trade Tyler and Robinson for El Loco Urban. Yeah, no dice. I would never do that. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to count on that clown ever. Speaking of trades, let's talk about something here, okay? Besides a great Perdomo cigar, which you should go to perdomocigars.com. By the way, have you been, before I say anything, have you guys been over to the Perdomo factory? Because maybe you drive by on the Palmetto and you're looking at it and you're going, oh, it's pretty cool. You know, you see the Perdomo cigar sign and you think, oh, well, that's actually awesome. I probably can never go in there. And actually you can. You can go in there. They've got an enormous humidor. They've got all the full line of Perdomo cigars. So it doesn't matter what you're into, and you can check it out. So if you've never been there, and by the way, you also may run into Nick Perdomo, okay, 5150 Northwest 167th Street. I think they're still hiring, by the way, also, if you're looking for work. Okay, but they got a killer humidor there. They've got a ginormous couch there. People go and they buy a cigar and relax, or they buy a box and leave. But a lot of people can go and relax, and they've got a giant, I swear to God, this couch is like 30 feet long. It's U-shaped, and it's like 30 feet long. They right there, a giant TV. Beautiful place. So just in case, if you're a cigar aficionado, go check out the Perdomo Cigar Lounge at 5150 Northwest 167th Street. It's right there with the factory. Who knows, man? You might meet Nick Perdomo. You can take a picture. Nick Jr. is hanging around. Maybe Billy Perdomo. All the great people. Arthur out there. Just awesome, awesome people at Perdomo Cigars. All right, so you were talking about trade with Tyler and all that. How about the Miami Dolphins making a trade? It might be a little premature, maybe not the right move to make, but it all depends on what you're offering. Maybe I'm willing to take the chance. Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott last night got injured. Oh, my God. Dak Prescott injured? That guy never gets injured. Wow, I'm shocked that he's actually even injured. That guy never, ever is missing any kind of time. Anyway, so the fragile one busted up his hand yesterday while he was throwing. So he's out 6 to 8 weeks. He'll need surgery. Teddy Bridgewater? Yeah, I know the Jimmy Garoppolo stuff, but if you watch Trey Lance yesterday, they're probably going to go, well, he's got a friendly contract now. Well, we're going to hang on to him. I'd hope they trade him because that's better for the Dolphins, more losses for them, better draft pick for the Dolphins, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's the good thing about that one. But so if it's not Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater? What are you parting with Teddy Bridgewater if the Dallas Cowboys? It's got to be no less than a third rounder. I was thinking this last night. Now, it is crazy. You really want Teddy in there. You really want Teddy's mind in the QB room. He's going to help Tua out. He's going to help Skyler out in their development. So I really would not like to trade Teddy Bridgewater. But, my God, what do you do if the Cowboys are so desperate that they'll offer you a decent pick for Teddy Bridgewater? Do you make the trade? I mean, that's one where You got to think about it. You got to think about it. We got a bunch of people on the chat board now, nearly 500. Give me the answer. What would you do? Would you trade Teddy Bridgewater for what if the Cowboys are calling? Or would you say no, too important, you got to keep him as your backup quarterback? I'm just saying, what would you do? Would you trade him? I was thinking, you give me a third, and I'm doing it. Fourth or fifth, that doesn't do nearly as much for me. It doesn't get me as excited. But if you get me into the third round, you know what I mean? I don't know if you can. I doubt you can get a second. But if you could get me into the third round out of pure desperation, I would do it. I would do it. What do we got going on? Fourth, Big O trading Teddy to Cowboys actually genius. We could give them Bridgewater for a second-round pick, if not say goodbye to your season. No trade. Teddy trade without a doubt. Can we hit the like button, please? Yes, John Yang is right. Please hit the like button. Second-round pick from the Mosi Mo man or something like that. Staffy, I won't trade him. We need him as our backup. Only trade for a third and a fifth for this draft. Wow, 2 extreme ones, 2 picks. Hugo, a third. The D experience, the Wayne D experience wants a third. I would trade Bridgewater for a third. So you guys are thinking along my lines. Manuel Malo, second. They can have Teddy, says Alexis. A lot of you are going with thirds. Eric wants a second. Fresco says I would trade Teddy easily for a third and side Reed Sinnott, who's a free agent. There you go. Bye, Teddy, from Ian from Brooklyn. So most of you are, well, no, Max, you said give O-line now. They don't have any O-line. Did you notice that yesterday with the injuries? They lost McGovern, and didn't they have another? And they had another injury, I think. They're hurting on the offensive line. That depth and that killer line that they had a few years back, it has, over the last couple of years, it's gotten decimated. Gotten older, injured, and decimated. So, yeah, no, it's not the same anymore. Brian says you need an experienced backup QB, but if they trade him, maybe a fourth. There you go. Teddy Bridgewater for Micah Parsons, straight up. Oh, that is funny. That is funny. Patricia says, hello to all supporting Dolphin fans. There you go. High snap scared me yesterday. Yeah, but it's not too bad. It wasn't a lot of them or anything like that, and it wasn't over his head or a holy roller or anything like that. So I'm not really going to panic much about that. I mean, normal centers may have a one bad snap where they might make a little high, a little low. In almost every game, they might have a snap that they're not that good. So let's not overreact on that either. Because I'm sure if you watched an entire game yesterday, there was probably a snap that the center released and it went low or a little high or to the left or to the right or something that he was off. It's normal. It can happen. But what you don't want is the one that becomes a turnover. And that has not happened. And of course, I just jinxed it. So yes, there we go. Thank you for helping me jinx it now. Because now if it happens this weekend, you guys are going to kill me on Monday or even on Sunday, you won't wait. Oh, you said. Because we got people that are just like waiting in the bushes. They're hiding. When he gets something wrong, pounce. Big O, do parking passes at Hard Rock Stadium come with a fire extinguisher? 11 cars caught fire yesterday. An idiot put his hot charcoal barbecue in his car. Fans like that should be rooting for the away team. Yes. I agree. Did the guy really put his thing inside the car? you know what people normally do, right? They just leave it out there dying out and let it, you're not supposed to put it. Was he so? I guess he was afraid somebody would take it. That is funny. Sad that 11 cars got burnt up, 10 cars, 12 cars. I don't know what the hell it was, but man, that was funky. I gotta say, that was pretty funky. Damn, that was the smoke that was at the game. Yes, a bunch of cars got on fire. It's a fire. It's a fire. Just roll them over. You'll be fine. It's a fire. Big O, how will the Dolphins utilize Mike Gesicki in this offense this season? Well, I took the time yesterday to do a little investigative work on that, on what they plan to do with Gesicki. Well, I'm hearing now that they're going to now give him the Gatorade responsibilities. So he will now have a tray, kind of like a waiter, and he'll walk around and hand guys, cups of Gatorade. Okay? They're going to use him now more as a waiter for the offense. That's kind of what's going to happen. He's no longer going to be on the field anymore. He'll be sending in signals. He'll be serving Gatorade, handing out towels to people that come off the field, all of those kind of things. He's going to be a $10 million butler, in other words. Okay, I think they're going to use Gesicki to drive the bus, too, on the road. When they arrive at the airport, Gesicki will now be your bus. It's kind of like watching Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden fly, Ed Force One, right? So the singer of the band is the pilot of Iron Maiden's, plane. So they're going to do the same thing with Gesicki. They're going to save some money, and now he will get his pilot's license, and he will also drive the bus. And so they're going to use him in other ways to make him more productive. So when people are saying, what's up with Gesicki? You say, dude, he's doing a great job. He's serving up some Gatorade. He's driving the bus. He's flying the plane. I mean, what more do you want for 10, 11 million a year? So that's pretty good right there. I like it because I told you that if you're going to keep people on the roster, they have to have multiple jobs. So now Mike Gesicki will also have extra jobs at the same time. He's helping you a little bit on offense, and then he's helping you a lot, getting prepared for the game with Gatorade and towels and chauffeur and all that good stuff. By the way, if somebody has a good chauffeur school for Gesicki to go to, make sure you reach out to him and tell him, because he's definitely going to need it. So Mike Gesicki will be a big part of the team, but in none of the ways you guys expected him, unfortunately. Yes. Big O, would you sign a free agent tackle this week? Brian, who's available, Brian? Who's the free agent tackle that you got to have on your team and is available? See, because I love those questions when they have nothing behind them. Like, who's available? Who is saving your season, my friend? Please enlighten me on that. Who did 32 teams not sign and is sitting on his couch that can actually block defensive ends all across the NFL? If there's a name out there that they must sign, Brian Morgado. Who is it, my brother? Okay? On this show, do your homework. If you're going to bring it, bring it. Lazy questions, they'll get exposed. Any update on Ethan Carter? That one's important because he's the backup fullback. You don't carry two fullbacks. So I'm hoping Ethan is all right. Bridgewater for a second. If not, Cowboys are out of the playoffs. Well, who said they were in the playoffs in the first place? Oh, and by the way, can I just be honest? I don't mind if they trade Teddy. Let's say they would. They got no shot at the playoffs. They're not going to the playoffs. Teddy will not get them to the playoffs. But whatever. Gesicki's trade value drops every single week if he does not produce. It doesn't matter. He can go sign and you're going to get a compensatory pick anyway. So you're not really going to get probably a second rounder from a team. Probably get a third, and that's probably what you're going to get when he signs a free agent contract with somebody. Only name I can think of is Eric Fisher, and he's constantly injured. He hasn't been the guy in a long, long time. Let's see. Tua distributed the ball to 9 different receivers this Sunday, and everybody talking about Gesicki not getting the ball. Well, that's because Peterson, some people aren't happy unless they are complaining. That's all that is just let's find a reason to complain. That's the sad part about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Sports Grill, we are going to have our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone at noon with Andy Behrens. But Sports Grill, by the way, during football season, and guess what? Tonight we got a Monday night football game, right? Denver and Seattle. $1.50 Bud Light drafts and bottles during NCAA and NFL games. They've got new cocktails, $5 during NCAA and NFL games. Cherry lemonade and tailgate tea, $12 domestic pitchers. Bone-in wings are just 15% off. They've got new menu items like the buttermilk chicken sandwich. I had it the other day, by the way. Absolutely delicious. I also love the chicken parm sandwich that they have too. God, I love that. You know what? I think I'm going to have that chicken parm sandwich today for lunch when I get off the air. Buffalo tater tots. Today's Monday, right? $7 single smash burger. Tuesdays, $2 tacos, chicken, beef, or fish. And Wednesdays, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. So go to Sports Grill. 7 great locations. An 8th is coming in Doral. Awesome place. The one in Doral is going to be beastly, but obviously they do a great job. Sports Grill all across South Florida. Go to sportsgrill.com. Check it out. Brian Doty says, can be happy with the win and see some real things we need to work on, but I'm happy and hope for improvement. I mean, to be bitching and complaining today is just, it's ridiculous. You're acting like you're some kind of entitled fan that you've been winning a shit ton or something. You haven't. Hour number 2. What do you got? Oh, what do you got going on? Is this the fire? Is this the fire? Can you enlarge? Can you enlarge for the fire? No, that is enlarge. Wow. So that's the burn zone right there, huh? Yeah, baby. I gotta tell you, that's some bad stuff right there. Josh Boyer, true Finn fan, says Josh Boyer called the plays last year. We clear? Yes, he said it. He said he called the plays last year. He was pretty adamant about the fact that he called the plays. That's one thing that there we go. Thank you, true Finn fan. Appreciate you. All right. Hour number 2 is next.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Back, baby. Hour number dos del programa. And Alan Poupart will be joining us at the bottom of this hour. So we'll have a little fun with Alan Poupart. Cater Kohu. Pretty amazing. Pretty freaking amazing. The kid breaks up a pass with Hunter Henry down the middle of the field on a 4th down play. So it was clutch. He forces a fumble that Jalen Phillips recovers, and Sealer was right there also, by the way. You got to love Zach Sealer. He's just always there. Cater Kohu played 17 snaps. Had 3 tackles. Was around the ball. I mean, this kid's impressive. 17 snaps. I saw that and I was like, that kid played like if he was on the field the entire time because his presence was felt in just 17 snaps. It's a kid that's gone from Division II to the NFL. And he missed half of training camp with an injury. Yet somehow this team had the conviction that said, yeah, no, he's, I mean, I told you guys like a month ago. Remember, I told you, Cater Kohu's going to make this team, and they love him and all that stuff because they paid for him. It was the same thing like Trill Williams, like Nick Needham. It's just one of those things that they have a conviction on. And Tanner Connor's the same thing. They had the same conviction with him. You know, Vernon McKinley III, the safety from California, didn't really play a ton, and they kept him also. So you don't really have to end up playing if they like you, if they believe in you, if they scouted you thoroughly and they say, no, this kid's got something. And boy, Cater Kohu has got it, man. And it's a tribute to football in general. So all those coaches that are in Division I, they tell you, hey, man, no matter what Division I school you're in, they tell you all the time, you gotta play as hard as you can. Somebody will find you, and they will. And in Division II, if you do enough, somebody will find you. Josh Boyer, who called a pretty damn good defense yesterday. The run was they were gouging them. They wanted to run the ball yesterday. You can tell. And they had success in that first half. And then the second half, the Dolphins made the adjustment, and it was over. And I give him credit. But Josh Boyer is the guy that was also a big Kader Kohou guy. And sure enough, it has paid off. And again, I think you need to give that guy more reps. More reps on the outside. Like I talked about yesterday in the postgame show. From what I'm seeing, Kader Kohou is the better athlete in the air. And Nick Needham, I think, is better suited to be a slot. This week against the Ravens, I would have Kader Kohou playing a lot more than 17 snaps, and I would have him playing on the outside as the starter. And I'm sure Lamar and company are going to go right after him right away, and he'll get his chance to prove himself right away. Pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome to watch what Kader Kohou did yesterday in only 17 plays. That's a kid that understands where he's at and how he must make a play. And the other thing, for those of you, I don't know if you caught the interview. We just interviewed Kader on Wednesday. So if you didn't see the interview, you can go check it out. One of the things that I've been impressed with Kader, couple things besides his play, of course, but physically, he's already built like an NFL player. And then the maturity is rock solid. Rock solid in maturity, rock solid in reality. And that's why he's not going to allow these moments to be too big for him, or he's not going to let it slip away from him. That's the impressive part about that kid. I mean, I can't say enough about what Kader Kohou did in just 17 plays yesterday. What a find for the Miami Dolphins. Rick the Man says, don't forget, we still have Trent Williams next year on top of having Kohou and X looking good to trade Jones next year. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Trill Williams will be back next year. So hopefully Trill can get back to form and start to build on what he was doing last year. But again, 17 snaps, 3 tackles, monster plays, 4th down, strip, hit, clutch, money plays, game-changing plays in just 17 attempts. Kader Kohou, you, sir, are a young stud. I like what I'm seeing from that kid. NorCal says, Dolphins beat the Pats and firefighters protected our community from the mosquito wildfire burning NorCal. Thank you, firefighters. There you go, NorCal. Nice. And the firefighters got to the cars over at the stadium before more cars ended up getting toasted and roasted. Can you imagine? How about the guy or woman that owns the car that did not get on fire right next to it? Like, they must be saying, wow, we got lucky. That kind of stuff. Oh, man. Anyway, so we shall see what we shall see. Big O, do you remember when fans didn't like the Finns won ugly in last year's season opener against the Pats, and then losing streak happened? Bad things happen to selfish fans. I mean, personally, Karen, I said it yesterday, joking around. I would love to get these ungrateful wow. I'd love to get these ungrateful Dolphin fans. And there was a show called Sliders. And in that show, they would go to alternate universes. Damn. They would go to alternate universes, right? And it would be the same world you're in, but it might be something completely different going on in that world, right? I would like to get that the ungrateful Dolphin fan base, put them into the sliders machine, into the what is it, the warp or whatever that window that would open up. Stick them all in there and stick them in a 20-year cycle of 2020 to 2020. No, 2000 to 2020. No, let me make them really suffer. 2002 to 2021. There you go. I don't even want to give them the Baltimore playoff game that was disappointing anyway, because they got their asses kicked in the first round. But I don't even want to give them that. I'm going to give them 2022 to 2021. Those 20 seasons right there. And that's what they have to live over and over. It's like Groundhog Day I want to do to those fans. That's what I want to do. I want to put them in there. Nick, thank you, my brother. Pileggi, right? Pileggi? Nick Pileggi says, good morning, Big O, from crappy Buffalo. Here's 1972 since we're going undefeated this year. Fins up. I love it. Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. That is so funny. Remember, you can also make a donation through Cash App or Venmo. That is Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show through Cash App or Venmo. Always there. And Steve M., thank you, sir. He says, I remember last year when we opened with a win against the same Patriots, and everyone said, you're not allowed to question how to win. Then we lost the next 7 games, so you all might not like it, but this team has proven one win doesn't mean anything. Well, yeah, that is very true. That true if you want to live like that. Okay? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Why, Steve M? I'll tell you why. And I just said him the same thing. If you want to live like that, you can go ahead and do it. But I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because this is a different coach than the guy last year. This is a different team than the team from last year. There's an infusion of talent in this team right now. And offensively, I think they're a better team overall. They're smarter. So I expect them to play better overall. That's why I'm picking them to go to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Ho Yoon, thank you also for the love on the Venmo, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember, Cash App or Venmo. The difference between the donations at Cash App and Venmo, the show gets 100% of the donations through the super chat on YouTube. YouTube takes 30%. Like they don't have enough already as it is. So that's why we give you the options of Cash App and Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Oh, William Quigley is in. Cutter's Edge. I was most impressed with the game plan and execution. The Patriots were kept off balance most of the game. We were not predictable for once. Good coaching. I agree, William. Thank you for the love on the super chat. As always, my friend, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it is true. They just got to fix the offensive line and the running game. That's part of what needs to complement the offense. It's just the way it is. And I've talked about this many, many times already. And I'll continue to talk about it, I guess, because some people need to be educated and understand what's at stake here. When you've got a Bob Greasy, when you've got a Drew Brees, when you've got a Fran Tarkenton, when you've got a Joe Montana, when you've got, I don't know, quarterbacks like Tua that are like those kind of guys. These aren't the guys that are going to be able to have 2-3 guys draped on them and they're going to complete a pass. These aren't the guys that are going to turn the corner and run a 4-4 or 4-5 and go gain 25 yards for you, right? These aren't the guys that can throw off balance and throw a 25-yard strike, okay? The Tua quarterback has happened in the NFL over and over and over again. But as a football team, you have to build the team properly around them. And most of those guys that I talked about could turn and hand off the ball to somebody. See what I'm saying? So it's really important to have balance. Now, if you're expecting for somebody to bail you out every single time, we had that with Marino. And that doesn't work more often than not. You're going to need some balance. Even Russell Wilson, he never got over the hump anymore once his offensive line wasn't working well, once his running game wasn't working well, once his defense wasn't what is it? The not doomsday, that's the Cowboys. What were they called? Oh God, what was the name of that damn defense that they had? But once that dried out, as great as Russell Wilson is, never won it again. And had trouble at times. And it's not his fault. And he's athletic as hell.
It was the Legion of Boom, wasn't it, or something?
There you go. Legion of Boom. Thank you, sir. And there you go. Vegas and Eric Storm and True Fin Fan. Thank you all already coming in with that. Every quarterback needs help, dude. That's why I laugh with people, oh my God, well, he can't do this and he can't do that. Like Justin Herbert yesterday, which is always the comparison. Justin Herbert yesterday had a chance to end the game. He failed. He got lucky that the defense bailed his ass out. Because if the Raiders put together that final drive, they can win the game right there in the end. He had a chance to end the game and continue the drive, and he failed. And they had to give the ball back to the Raiders, which the Raiders could have won the game. But the defense was awesome. They got 3 turnovers. So, yeah, Justin Herbert's stats are terrific. But if you didn't watch the game, you wouldn't know what I told you. You just see the win and you see his stats. But go look at the end of the game. The second to last drive. He had a chance to end the game over. And he failed on that 4th down. He threw an inside pass that he allowed the DB Hobbs to make a play on it and knock it down. And Mike Williams is a big receiver. He could have put it outside and keep Hobbs on his hip. And it was just ball placement. And Herbert's a very accurate quarterback, but he put it inside. He should have put it up here. And that's it. He would have had a chance, or Hobbs would have committed a penalty, would have kept the drive going. But these are things that nobody talks about because you don't really watch the games. So you're watching your guy, and then you watch the stats of another guy, but you didn't really watch the game itself. So you're not really going to know everything that went on. It's not, you got to build this team the right way. And so far, they're on their way on the passing side, but they've got to fix the offensive line. Yesterday, they got injuries. Armstead had to leave for a couple plays and then come back. And then obviously Austin Jackson went out, and then Greg Little came in. And at one point or another, you had Eichenberg playing tackle, and you even had Robert Hunt playing tackle. Luckily, you've got flexibility there. And you've got a Dieter that can step in at guard. I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if Dieter's in the starting lineup at one point or another. Anyway, I just think it's one of those things, and we'll find out. It's only one game. It's going to take some time. You don't fix the running game right away. You don't close the gap with the Bills in one off season with Mike McDaniel. We have to be realistic. We have to be patient. And the beautiful thing is, okay, while you're being patient, it's looking a lot better than it did last year. By the way, Cutter's Edge, let me tell you, folks, if you're looking to change the look of your home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, or maybe you got to do some some cleaning. Wow. I'm sorry. Oh, wow. All right, there we go. Maybe you need to do some cleaning or preparations for your home, whether it's tree trimming, removal, landscape design, outdoor lighting, irrigation design and build, even synthetic turf. Maybe you want to change. Let me give you a little advice. The synthetic turf is awesome. And if you own dogs like we do, oh my Lord, it is fantastic. Okay? The maintenance is very low. You're not cutting grass anymore. Your dogs aren't eating grass anymore sometimes, because I got a few dogs, and once in a while they just like, hey, stop, that kind of stuff. And so they're not eating grass anymore, and it's very manageable. Man, it is so easy to manage, and it is a pleasure to have in your home. So think about artificial turf. Call the great people at Cutter's Edge, 954-472-0622. And listen, whether it's landscaping, trees, you name it, they do it all for you, and they do it right. That's the other thing. There's a lot of places that they might tell you, well, I can sell you this tree, but at a certain price, and it's half of it. It's also half the tree that you're getting. And they can also tell, yeah, we can do the artificial turf for you. Yeah, but do they actually go deep in and clear out everything from underneath? Do they make sure that they pack it in the right way? And they put double layers of tarps over it to make sure they kill all weeds and everything. I'm telling you, the thorough job that they do is second to none. So that's part of the professional look, the clean look that you have, and your neighbors are going to you're going to be the envy of your neighborhood once Cutter's Edge is done. So call Will, call Mike, call the great people out there at Cutter's Edge, 954-472-0622. I got to do a little job down there where I go take some video and kind of go through our backyard. I'm just kind of waiting till we fix our wall here, so I can, kind of have the whole atmosphere perfect down there. But man, thanks to the folks at Cutter's Edge. I'm telling you, if you get an opportunity to redo your home and you want to give it the facelift that it deserves, and your property value also will skyrocket, call the great people at Cutter's Edge. They know how to get it done. Honestly, haven't seen enough to know if we are on the right path. Need to see more. Yeah, that's fine. That's normal. Jean-Luc, how about the Bengals and Steelers game? Both those kickers were nervous, and Minka had a hell of an extra point block. Yeah, and he had an interception too. Also, I think he intercepted. Well, Joe Burrow threw 4 interceptions yesterday. He had a rough one. And he has a hell of a running back too. His running back carried the ball like 30 times yesterday. He has a hell of a running back, dude. But I guess they didn't fix that line. He had like 6, 7 sacks, 8 sacks or something. I don't know. He got sacked a lot. I don't know how much of it is on the line, and maybe also Joe might be holding on to the ball too, which after a knee injury, I would hope that Joe Burrow's a little smarter than that and get rid of the football, because all those sacks they did have, I didn't watch the game from beginning to end, but I'm willing to gamble that a lot of those sacks weren't on the offensive line. Not a lot, but I mean some of those sacks. I'm sorry. I'm sure there were a few that were on Joe, because that happens with quarterbacks at times. They gotta they get a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? Big O, check out your Twitter messages. Let's see what we got on Twitter. What do we have on Twitter? What are you guys doing to me on Twitter? Let's see. What do we got going on? I was at the stadium yesterday, and a couple guys didn't do anything else other than complain and yell insults at the coach and players, and we were winning 10-0. They didn't like almost any play. Sad to see that. Well, they're losers. What do you want me to do? I agree with Tommy and Hialeah. Idiots are everywhere. Nico says, the first time many of these guys play together a full game under new coaches, you can't overreact either way. I agree. What else? Oh, yes. I saw the wheelbarrow with the nuts in the wheelbarrow. I saw that for what's this guy's name for Mike McDaniel? Okay. All right. I saw that. Thank you. It was a funny GIF or GIF or whatever the hell it is that you wanna call it. Gerard says, good morning, Big O. Had one of the best weekends ever. Saw Julian Marley Saturday night, then Dolphins win on Sunday. Nice. Never seen Julian Marley. Today is Scorpions at the Hard Rock. I've seen the Scorpions like, I don't know, 10 times maybe over the years. And I got to say this. I wanted to go to the Scorpions concert tonight. But, dude, the tickets are that's the one thing I will say about the Hard Rock, the new arena now, because it's small, because it doesn't have, a lot of seating. It's like 8,000 or 9,000 or whatever it is. The tickets are really expensive, dude. Like super expensive. I don't have the money to go see, the Scorpions, and it's like $100 and some. It's like, are you kidding me, dude? I've seen like 4 Scorpions concerts for that price. Anyway, so just crazy that the prices over at the Hard Rock when concerts are there. I'm going to be very selective to the concerts I go to there. I've seen the Scorpions a crap ton of times. I've seen them in their heyday, in their peak. So there's no way I'm paying the kind of prices that they've got going on right now for that Scorpions concert. Victor Huertas says, Big O, why do people think we need to open the full playbook in week 1? Well, because, Victor, they're usually idiots. That's all. Anybody that complains about a game that you dominate 20-7, it was never in doubt. Was it perfect? No. They got a bunch of things to work on. But they have a bunch of things to work on, and they kicked the Patriots' ass, and they dominated. What's there to complain about, bro? You know what I mean? Of course they got crap to fix. But it was a really nice win overall. Enjoy the damn win. Stop acting like you're some kind of fan that's following a team that's won championship after championship, and you have this high standard or something. Chill out, dude. It was a win. They beat the Patriots. They've now dominated them 4 straight times. They've got the old man so flustered, he came in 5 days earlier than the game. I've never seen – Bill Belichick has shown so much in the last year and a half. He did what he has never done in the offseason last year. He went and spent a crap ton of money. And all it was an appearance in the first round of the playoffs. And this year, he comes early, 5 days early for this game. This guy is the panic meter continues to grow and grow and grow with Belichick. So just be happy that you've beaten Belichick 4 straight times. Be happy you're 1-0, and be happy you easily won a game where you've got a lot of things to work on. That's awesome. Alan Poupar will break it down with our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report next.
Dolphins fans, time to get insight on your favorite team with your favorite reporter with an Expos hat. Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show.
All right. There he is. There he is with the Expos hat. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So what'd you think of the performance yesterday?
Very impressive, particularly on defense. They were good. That first drive had me a little bit concerned because the Patriots were, as they say, matriculating down the field.
They were running in the first half. They adjusted to that run in the second half. Congratulations to the defense and the coordinator, because the first half that's kind of what just kind of kept them in the game, that they were able to run and support the pass game a little bit. In the second half, they didn't have the same success running the ball. That was big.
Well, the first drive of the second half, they did as well. No, and then came the big play. And it's funny because I actually pointed this out, that Big Belichick says, well, we're in their territory 6 or 7 times. Well, guess what? Outside of 2 drives, you didn't take one snap inside the Dolphins' 40-yard line. So, like, let's chill. Let's chill with the 6 or 7 times in their territory. No, they got completely dominated. And remember, we heard all summer long how bad the New England offensive line was and how out of sync their offense was. And it was, and the Dolphins certainly didn't help their cause. And then love the play call on the blitz by Brandon Jones, who does that so well. And it's funny because Belichick's great after games, especially when he loses. Like, yeah, we just didn't pick it up. Well, they asked him what happened on the play. We didn't block it. Well, yeah, thanks, Sherlock. We couldn't figure that out, right? But it was very well designed because Brandon Jones kind of came and snuck in behind Melvin Ingram, and that's who Trent Brown was occupying himself and concerning himself with. And then boom, and then
I argue with Omar all the time about that kid, and he tells me he's not a ball hawk, and I say he's a goddamn ball hawk. Okay, that guy's got a knack for making plays. I don't know what it is about Brandon Jones, but that dude is around the football or creating plays. I love that. And by the way, the pass deflection also was bigger than the other stuff, because the other stuff he normally does. The pass deflection, that's what got me excited, because that's what he's got to work on. I love him as a blitzer. I love him supporting the run. I think he's one of the better strong safeties doing that kind of stuff. But when I saw him deflect that pass, that's what got me excited. That said, there you go. The kid might be turning the corner.
If you're talking about the one near the sideline, that should have been a pick. And Brandon Jones would tell you that should have been a pick. If we're talking about the same play, that should have been a pick. Biggo, come on now.
Okay, fine. But he made the play. Come on.
He was there. He had good coverage. Yeah. But if you want to take the next level, I mean, are we satisfied with him being like good to very good, or we want him to be excellent if you can get there?
Well, hold on a second. When you go from being told that you can't cover, because that's what they say about Brandon. Oh no, he's a liability in coverage. Okay, well, that wasn't a liability, at least. No, that's all I'm saying. Give the kid credit when he deserves the credit. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm saying. Give him a little love. He did make the play. I get it. You want an interception. Okay, I get it.
I have higher expectations for the kid because I care about the kid and I want him to succeed at the highest possible level. And it was a good play. And he had a great game all around. I mean, don't get me wrong. Him and Cater Kahu in the secondary were awesome.
Cater, I talked about this earlier before he came on. Dude, Cater only played 17 snaps. Mm-hmm. To make that impact in 17 snaps. And we're talking about game-changing plays on 4th down with Hunter Henry. And you're forcing that fumble too? Oh, are you kidding me? Those are 2 of the biggest plays in the damn game.
Without question. Here's the thing, though. We should not take away from, A, the play call, and B, the execution on that 4th down play. If you notice, the Dolphins only rushed 3.
Yes.
And they dropped everybody back in coverage. And Jones had a lot of time. He just could not find anybody. And then kudos to Emmanuel Ogbah for not giving up because he kept coming and coming. Eventually drew the holding penalty. And then Mac Jones at some point, like, hell, I gotta throw it to somebody.
Air it out.
Force it, and then go make the play.
But to high point the ball where he did with Hunter Henry, and he's half the size of Hunter Henry. I'm just saying, this is why in post game I said, I've seen it. I love Nick Needham, but I love Nick Needham in the slot. From what I've seen in several weeks with Cater Kahu, he's a much better athlete in the air. He's got better body control in the air, and he's got better ball skills in the air than Nick Needham. Nick Needham, stay with the slot. You're going to be on the ground most of the time, and that's where I like you. On the outside, I need you to have the athleticism like X has. Cater has it over Nick Needham. Your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna throw one out to you here, and don't call me crazy, which I know you love calling me crazy, but
of course you're Canadian.
Thank you very little. Kohu, the only thing Kohu's lacking to me to be a great outside cornerback at this point is I see from a physical. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so how's about this? If he continues on the ascent, which he's showing right now, who's to say that when Byron Jones comes back, he can't challenge Nick Needham for playing time in the slot?
Oh, for sure. He's if you run into a bigger, more athletic player, Yes, there's no doubt. In fact, Cater's showing you what he did with Hunter Henry. If something happens to Eric Rowe and Brandon Jones at times, you might have to throw his ass in there to cover a tight end, because what he did with Hunter Henry, that was big time, dude.
Yep.
Big time. I was so impressed with that. Yeah.
No, and then on top of that, he had the tackle for loss on the swing pass, and then he had, was it swing pass or running play? I forget.
No, it was a running play. It was a running play.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was a tackle for loss, and then he had the forced fumble when he threw his shoulder right into Nelson Aguilar. No, I mean,
yeah,
and do that in the limited amount of snaps he got. Major.
And it's like I tell people, just because he's Division II, I want you to know he doesn't have a Division II body. He has a NFL body already too. He's not like the kid that has to hit the weight room. I know he's not a big guy, but for his size, dude, he's built. He is a little fire hydrant. You know what I'm saying? But what I love is the athleticism. That kid can sky. He showed it. Was it the Eagles game, the one where the tip in the middle of the field, or in the preseason game? Which one was the one in the middle of the field? You remember that Cater saw the pass going across in the middle of the field and he jumped up and deflected it? That was a hell of a play on his part in the preseason, because that ball wasn't even intended for his player. And yet he made a play on that ball to deflect it. I love the kid's athleticism for his size.
I do too. And where he caught my eye was in a drill that one-on-one passing drill that's really, really tough. And he was covering guys like really, really well. And this is like a drill, but for those who don't know it, it's basically one-on-one cornerback against wide receiver. And basically the wide receiver has half the field in width with which to operate. And then it's from the 45-yard line. So they have that length as well. So it puts the defensive back at a major disadvantage. And he was hanging with a lot of guys. The only thing I saw at the time was he was a little bit handsy. And if you could correct that, and that's very correctable. I'm sure Sam Madison's going to be in his ear all the time. Don't get grabby, don't get grabby, don't get grabby.
Mr. Grabby, by the way, because Sam was very grabby in his day.
He was physical. Yes. He was physical. Hey, if they don't call it, it's not a penalty, right? Like on the X play in the end zone.
Yep. By the way, he's got a nickname already on the chat board, Darth Cater. That's amazing.
Like that.
That's amazing, Darth Cater. That's a good one. I like it. What we got to do is now when he comes out onto the field, everybody's got to start going dun dun da dun da da dun da da. We got to start doing the Darth Vader theme when Darth Cater comes out. That is awesome.
It's too bad Luke Falk is not a quarterback in the league anymore, because he could pick him off and go, Luke, I am your father.
That's it, Luke. I am your father. I love it. What do we know about Ethan Carter, bro? Because he's like the backup fullback, so I'm a little concerned about that.
What do you think we know, Big O? Based on the pattern that Mike McDaniel established last week, basically, what we're going to know is if guys get put on IR, we're going to know on Wednesday when the injury report comes out. And in the meantime, chances are we're not going to get anything. Obviously, doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it was a concussion, because they ruled him out pretty quickly with a head injury. So applying logic, one would think we're dealing with a concussion here. So depending on the severity of that, who knows how long that keeps him out.
By the way, I had no idea until yesterday when I was listening to the broadcast with a slanted Archuleta that the Dolphins are now 25-0 when leading at halftime.
At home.
At home. Yeah, at home. I had no idea that it was that hell of a record, dude. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. For a team that has not necessarily had great success and hasn't been in the postseason during that stretch. I don't know how far it dates back, but I'm sure it doesn't date back all the way to 2016. So they've managed that without making the playoffs.
I think it might date back to even farther than that when I'm thinking about it, because you've been so piss poor on offense. How many times do you lead at halftime? So I wonder if it's like a sporadic type of streak that's gone on, because they probably only have a couple games a year where they're really leading at halftime, because that's just not who they are. We're always talking about a team that's struggling on offense. So I'll
look it up this afternoon.
Look it up. Yeah, look it up. I wonder when that streak started. I'm really intrigued by it because I don't think there's a lot of games that they lead at halftime when I'm thinking about this. It's not like we're always talking about, oh my God, we always lead at halftime and then they lose in the second half. That's not really the case. They're usually trailing all the damn time, you know? So that's I thought that was an absolutely magnificent stat. All right. Since we always have to talk about the quarterbacks.
We always have to talk about the quarterbacks.
Talk to me about your assessment of Tua's play yesterday.
Solid.
Right. Nothing, not even close to spectacular.
Is that you saying it? Or you?
No, I'm saying not even close to spectacular. The only thing spectacular was 4th and 7. 4th and 7 was spectacular. Spectacular call, spectacular throw, spectacular catch and run. That was the trifecta. And to that, I would leave it as spectacular. That was spectacular. But his performance, I'm with you.
Although I would say, I think the gutsiness of the call has been overplayed. If we're gonna be honest about it, because if you look at the risk reward, there were 24 seconds left. Ball at the New England 42. They don't have a timeout left. The absolute worst case scenario, obviously, is a turnover that they run back. But logically, if it doesn't work and it's an incompletion, let's say it takes 5-6 seconds, the New England's got the ball at their 42 with 18 seconds, no timeouts. Odds of them getting a field goal from that point on are a lot lower than the Dolphins being able to get points by going for it on 4th and 7. So while some coaches actually would have punted, so I give props for Mike McDaniel for going for it. I say, yeah, it was a logical call. Perfect pass. Great job by Waddle to scoot under the two guys.
Everything was perfect. Everything, the call, the pass, the play, that was just absolutely beautiful. There's no doubt.
That was by far Tua's best pass of the game. There were a couple of plays.
To me, he just has to understand who he is. And at times he kind of gets lost on who he is. And I was talking about this before you came on. I don't care if you're Montana, and I don't care if you're Breeze or if you're Fran Tarkenton or whatever. There are certain things you can't do that other guys can do. And one, you're not going to be able to have 2 or 3 guys draped on you and you're going to throw a 30-yard strike. That's not going to happen. And then the other one where he sees the guy coming at him and he tries, the one that was almost intercepted, and he flicks it. You're not the flick guy, bro. You're not the flick guy. You can't flick a 20-yard strike. That's not who you are. So the one thing that I would say, a couple of those brain farts that he has to learn to either take the damn sack or quickly get rid of the ball. I don't blame him on the Judon one up the middle because Judon kind of hid behind the offensive lineman and then he shot up right up the middle and Tua saw him and I timed it. It was 2.8 seconds.
Correct.
Which is,
and he came out of nowhere. I agree.
That's the one that I don't blame him. Everything else, I kind of blame him on those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And as you mentioned, dude, you can take a sack. It's not the end of the world. Stop trying to throw a pass when you're basically parallel to the ground. Enough with that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's happened too much. It's happened too much.
Correct.
He has to stop those little brain farts. Okay, I know you want to make a play, but this is how you get injured because you're trying to continue to hang on to the ball to make a play. Let it go. That's the beauty of Marino, bro. Marino picked the guy and let it fly, but he also said, there ain't nothing here. I'm letting it fly also to the sideline. Just do that, bro.
Correct.
Please.
But that's it. He's got to get that ingrained into his head. No, but I mean, let's be honest. Like if you finished the season with a 104.4 passer rating, everybody would say that was not correct. But if we're gonna, I'm not sure what we saw in the field yesterday really equated to 104.4. If you want to be honest about it.
But I can also spin it to you and say, if you actually block and run, it might be 115. Now, I'm just saying, he's under duress the entire time again.
He wasn't under duress the entire time again. Come on, bro.
He was.
He wasn't under duress the entire time. He was under duress when he was sacked. Yeah, that happens. On the pass to Waddle up the middle, he had plenty of time. On a throw to Tyreek Hill, he had plenty of time on the 23-yarder down the left side. On the one where Hill stole the ball from the DB because the DB couldn't grasp his hand on it, he had plenty of time.
I don't think those took more than the 3 seconds. I think those were under the 2.8.
He had plenty of time most of the game. So,
Okay.
but the running game didn't help.
The
average was bad, and that's including 3 end arounds or the backward pass to Cedric Wilson, which got about 7 to 8 yards a pop every time. So outside of that, no, the running game was very, very disappointing.
Yeah, but I don't expect them to fix it in one game. So, the good thing is Armstead came back. I don't know what's going on with Austin. Have you been able to rewatch it overall, how Greg Little did? Because it didn't look like he was terrible.
I'm rewatching it this afternoon. From my initial viewing, I didn't notice anything bad at all with Greg Little, with Hunt, with Armstead. The couple of areas where I kind of grinched a little, or did this a little bit, was with Eichenberg and with Connor.
I keep saying with Eichenberg, I'd put Dieter in there, bro. I'm sorry. I think Dieter's going to take that guard spot when it's all said and done. That's just me. I just keep thinking I just keep thinking Eichenberg. If anything, he's a tackle. I just don't look at him as a mauling guard, bro. I just don't see it. But I think Dieter's in that point where he's maturing. I think he's ready to take off. Actually, I really do.
You did notice that it was Liam who swung to left tackle on those 2 plays. Armstead was out, right?
Right. Yeah. And that makes sense. That's who I would put out there. I think that's where he belongs when it's all said and done. I think he needs to be on the outside. I think they're putting him there because they picked him, and pretty high and all that, and so they want to kind of justify that pick. But for me, Dieter is the guy that's going to end up there at guard and his natural position. All right, what else did I wanted to bring up with you before I let you go? Do you see? I was talking about this before you came on. Is there panic in Belichickville? A lot of money spent in free agency.
That's a bad looking team. Team.
A lot of money spent in free agency last year to try to make up for a bunch of stuff because he saw Brady win the title the year before, and now this year, he's so flustered with the whole Miami situation. He comes down here 5 days earlier, and it doesn't work out. And this whole mess with his offensive coordinators and everything else that he's got going on. I don't know what the hell is going on with Belichick, bro, but I know it's blasphemous to say this, but to me, the wheels are coming off. That's what it looks like. I don't know. You tell me.
No, I don't know if wheels are coming. I don't know if I necessarily use that term, but no, it's not a great looking team. And if I look around the AFC, I have a hard time seeing a path for them making the playoffs.
So then the wheels are coming off, bro. Think about it. Think about it.
In that sense, yeah. There's nothing really that frightens you about that team. I will tell you this: like Kyle Duggar at safety is a hell of a player.
Judon's a hell of a player. There's a couple guys, obviously, that are terrific players, but
but on offense, their 2 best players are the 2 running backs, and that'll take you so far, especially since their offensive line is not great. Mac Jones is one of those guys where he has to have great work circumstances around him. And he didn't have that. Nelson Aguilar is just an okay wide receiver. Kendrick Bourne, who's a decent player. He played 2 snaps yesterday. I don't know why. And then Devontae Parker, it'll be interesting to see what he does when he doesn't have X following him across the field the entire game and saying, nope, you're not catching a pass today. Or you caught one that I don't even think X was on him on that play. So no, I don't see. I wasn't impressed in the least by the Patriots, and now they're at Pittsburgh this Sunday, and I have a hard time seeing them winning that game, even if I don't know what the word is this morning with TJ Watt. Even if TJ Watt's out for the year, that's still a
Watt thing. Obviously, it's a Watt thing to be breaking down constantly. Because damn, dude, that's a hell of a loss, and they suffered last year losses to their pass rushers, which was debilitating. And now you lose this guy, the number 1 pass rusher in the NFL. Woo, doggy. All right, one more thing. Josh Boyer, what's Poupart give him as a grade overall? Because we talk about Tua and we talk about McDaniel. Well, one of the guys that was under the microscope, Josh Boyer didn't make the calls. Josh Boyer didn't run the defense. It was all flow. He was puppeteering the whole thing. Josh Boyer, I don't know. Why would I stay with that guy? That's really risky. Well, how'd the risk work out so far in week 1?
I like how you always put things very like simply and mild-manneredly. It's funny.
I mean, I heard it all about Josh Boyer, and it's like, whoa. And and last year he was pretty adamant about, hey, I called the plays. So I don't think you're going to be flat out.
It was this year. It was this year, and again, what else are you going to say? I'm going to maintain my position. If you don't think Brian Flores' fingerprints were all over that defense, I know, but apparently he did call the defensive plays, is what he said last year on the back end. So you don't believe that? He said it this year.
Or this year, whatever that he called it last year.
That's all terminology when it comes to play calling. If Flores is telling, I don't know. Bottom line, let me answer your question. A-. The only reason I wouldn't give him an A, there were a couple of times a touchdown. I don't know if there was a mix-up, if Jalen was supposed to drop back and cover Montgomery out of the flat. That's what it looked like on the replay. Not sure I want Jalen covering Montgomery coming out of the flat. A couple of times they let New England get outside on running plays. Got jammed up inside, but I mean, it's hard to complain. They gave us 7 points. They scored a touchdown themselves.
Yeah. 7 points, 3 turnovers. Yeah. You know, I just I have a hard time. Yeah. A- is good. You know, A+, that's for a bigger opponent and a bigger moment. So I get it. But yeah, I'll go with an A-. I think that's a fair one. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. What are you working on alldolphins.com? The page that every Dolphin needs to bookmark all over the world. What are you working on, sir?
Well, this morning I did the analysis of the snap count, some interesting things, including Mike Gesicki, which after one game would bring up again the question, why in the hell did they tag that guy? Among other things, this afternoon, as I mentioned, I'm going to rewatch the game and do the report card off of that. Mike McDaniel speaking to the media later this afternoon at 4:30. We'll see what he has to say and see what needs to be written off of that. And there'll probably be other 12 to 15 other things as well.
If the Cowboys come and knocking and say, we'll give you a 3rd rounder for Teddy Bridgewater, are you doing it?
Boy, that's a good question.
I know you would have said no to a 4th or 5th, because I probably would have said no to a 4th or 5th.
No, correct.
A third, I might just do this. I might just be crazy enough, even though you really need Teddy in the quarterback room. I got to be honest. But I don't know. Maybe I could go find another veteran quarterback that can hang out with us and still play Skyler if I had to.
No, correct. And the other part of that is I know people are throwing that out there, and it's like, if the Cowboys were going to be that quick to call teams in the event of a Dak injury, then why wouldn't they have just signed somebody in the offseason instead of going with Cooper Rush? You know?
Don't know. But I know this. None of us are shocked that Dak Prescott got injured. That I can tell you.
Oh, that's a fluke, though. I mean,
I know it's a fluke, but it's just the guy gets injured. It's just whether it's flukish or not, he just seems to get injured all the damn time, man. The poor guy. I mean, it is what it is. I feel bad, but they're probably, the Garoppolo thing, the way Trey played, they may still hang on. They may still hang on to him because it's a cheap contract now. And now you look at, okay, what other backup can you go for? Teddy Bridgewater might be the guy that can manage the game for them and try to keep it alive for him, even though I still don't think with Teddy they get to the playoffs anyway. But what the hell? You're not in a great division. I'm just saying Miami could. And, you already lost a 3rd rounder thanks to Mr. Ross and Mr. Beal. Here's a chance to make up for that 3rd rounder.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, too, and I want to bring up this point because I know – you tend to harp on the Dolphin offensive line being mediocre. Have you looked at what Dallas's offensive line looked like? But how about
and they lost Connor McGovern yesterday too.
They did, and how about Green Bay's offensive line?
I know
there's a lot of that going on. Okay, it's not just the Dolphins. The teams with very good offensive lines are really, really few and far between. Yep. And that's why the Eagles on the surface look like they're an okay team, except they have a very, very good offensive line, which is why
college football has screwed the NFL in such a way. It's not, because all they do is pass, and a scout's job is near impossible to figure out what a road grader looks like because you don't get to see the guy with a hand in the ground and driving somebody on a consistent basis. So I can't imagine scouting offensive linemen in today's NFL. It's just impossible, dude. Impossible.
Correct. That's why there are so few really good offensive lines.
Yeah, and I bet there's a lot of good ones slipping right through the cracks, and they're going off to work in whatever, doctors and whatever, policemen or whatever they're going to be. They're going to be something else, and they easily could have been a road grading guard or somebody in the NFL. They just didn't get the shot because whatever system they were in.
Yep.
It sucks, dude. It sucks. It happens in basketball now, and that's why I think the Heat has been so good at finding street guys, because you have so many kids leaving from high school to some pro league or whatever that you have no feel for these guys anymore. They go to college for 1 year, and you used to see a guy for 3 to 4 years under Dean Smith. Now you know what he is like for 3 to 4 years under Denny Crum and John Thompson, all that. You don't get that anymore. It gets that much harder, so guys are slipping through the cracks. And we're having some of that now in the NFL, unfortunately. Sucks.
Without question.
All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL and catch his work there at alldolphins.com, covering it for Sports Illustrated. We'll catch up later in the week, my friend. Thank you for taking time.
Sounds good. You be good.
You got it. There you go. Our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Get those fantasy football questions ready. Our number 3 is about to take off. Our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. The one and only Andy Behrens, ready to go deep for you. Our number 3 is next.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is your custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. PPR, Draft, Keeper, Dynasty. It's the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Andy Behrens. Keep up with your fantasy football teams by visiting any of the 8 great Sports Grill locations. Sports Grill, good food, good drink, good friends. Here's Andy Behrens.
All right. There he is with our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. And you see it there. You got football tonight, baby. Enjoy 15% off all bone-in wings, $1.50 Bud Light drafts and bottles during NCAA and NFL games, and $12 domestic pitchers. They got so many extra stuff going on. Today's Monday, $7 single smash burger over at Sports Grill. Go to the website, sportsgrill.com. 8 great locations. 7 are open. The 8th one in Doral is about to be open. Andy, how you feeling, baby? You're how many of your teams won? Because I know you have like 87 leagues, right? That you're
I haven't actually done a full accounting of the fantasy portfolio just yet. It's good to join you on a victory Monday for the Dolphins.
Yes,
the Dolphins looking pretty frisky.
Yes. Although I have some Dolphin fans that are complaining like it was in not enough from this guy or not enough from Tua. I'm like, they dominated the Patriots and didn't play a good game. What the hell are you complaining about? Shut up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
yeah, that's exactly right. Like, those
104
are the best.
quarterback rating, 270 and a touchdown. Leave the kid alone. Yeah, he's got to clean up a couple things. Did you watch the league? There's a lot of cleaning up that has to do in the league right now, man.
Yeah, those are the best days when you've got a whole bunch of things you can point to and say, well, this is going to be better, this is going to be better, and that is going to be better, and you still get a win over a franchise that you've surely grown to hate.
Yeah, and now dominate. 4 straight for Tua. He's 4-0 against Belichick and the Patriots. I mean, that's all we needed to do. We had to draft Tua a lot longer. We should have drafted him out of the womb, and we would have been beating Belichick for 20 years.
Belichick never would have been Belichick. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Also,
when the second Mama Tua spits him out, we should have just grabbed his ass and put him behind the center right away, and that's it. Damn it!
There's at least one more Tagovailoa coming too. There's the kid at Maryland. You can grab him too, just in case.
There you go.
If I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm elated at not only the fact that I got that win, but Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle looking exactly as advertised, exactly as we might have thought. I'm elated that my head coach gets aggressive selectively, right? And
that was the nail in the coffin, dude. That was the nail in the coffin. That was the kill hit right there. And by the way, beautiful pass by Tua. Great call, gutsy call, but great pass by Tua. And then obviously Waddle with the catch, breaking the arm tackles, and he's gone. That was just absolutely awesome for the coach, for the quarterback, and for the receiver, and for the team overall, because that was the kill shot right there, dude. After that,
and fantasy-wise, if anybody had questions about whether Waddle and Hill could both thrive in a Tua-led offense, it's happening. It's definitely happening. And that was the pass defenses didn't get any better than the Patriots last year. I know it's not exactly the same personnel on that side of the ball, but man, that was a D that ripped away more interceptions than they allowed touchdown passes last year. And you beat them, and you beat them soundly.
All right, so you gave me a perfect segue. And if you guys want to get in on the Welton Rayom text line, send in your fantasy questions right now at 855-912-1056. And right now on the chat board, you can send them in because they won't disappear with all the people on the chat board. So you talked about 2 receivers coexisting. So talk to me a little bit. If you own Devonta Smith and you're watching A.J. Brown hog everything up, should Devonta Smith owners be concerned, Andy Behrens?
Yeah, it's a great question, and they should have been really concerned coming into the season, right? Because the drumbeat out of Eagles camp was basically obviously AJ Brown is a upper tier receiver. Yeah, absolute freak. He was going to be the number one. He was always going to be the number one. But the drumbeat out of camp was really that Dallas Goedert was probably going to be the number 2 more often than not. So, and we're talking about like Jalen Hurts is a really fun fantasy quarterback who can still make strides as a passer, coming off a really effective fantasy day here. But he's also he finished as like a top 8 fantasy quarterback last year in a season in which he threw 16 touchdown passes. I mean, he's not a finished product as a passer, or if he is a finished product, that's a pretty bad sign, right? But he's a fantasy factor because he's one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the game, 90 rushing yards yesterday. He's not likely to support more than I don't know 1.5 fantasy viable receivers, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd be petrified if I had Devonta Smith. It was 4 targets and no catches yesterday. So it's not like he was shut out by his quarterback necessarily. He did draw some looks, but I mean, he's dealing with a scattershot passer, and Hurts is never going to be a guy who, is just not a player who's going to finish with 70-75% like completion percentages. That's not exactly his strength. And no, I think he's going to feed AJ Brown all season. I think Dallas Goedert's going to get his. And I think the spike weeks for Devonta Smith are going to be few and far between.
AJ is such an easy guy to get to because he's got the speed to get separation. So then he gives you that window. And then when he is covered, he's so big and physical, you can throw it to him when he's covered, because as a quarterback, you're comfortable that he's going to win that fight because have you watched him? Who the hell's going to win that fight against that guy? That guy
Yeah.
is a wall, man, an athletic
Yeah,
wall.
and that's what makes alpha receivers in the NFL, right? Like they're open if they're just single covered.
Yeah.
If they just have man and nobody else in the camera frame, they're open and they should get the ball.
Hey,
And
yesterday Tyreek had a DB right on him, but now that I've been around Tyreek and watch him, if you look at his body, it's a fire hydrant, bro. Like he is thick, he is strong. And you saw that yesterday in that game. Like AJ Brown is big and strong, but he's big. So you expect him to be powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tyreek is a smaller guy, but you don't realize how strong he is until you see him up close and you're like, holy crap, this guy's got arms that are thick, legs that look like Nolan Ryan's thighs. I'm serious, dude. He's got some thighs, bro. No wonder
every receiver in that tier, they can win with leverage too, right? Like they can win any kind of way. If they've got a guy on their hip, they've won. Like they can, they can win in contested situations. Guys like Tyreek, guys like AJ Brown can obviously separate with no trouble at all. So yeah, not a huge surprise to see AJ Brown draw 1 million targets from Jalen Hurts. He was super excited to play with him and had been calling to play with him, before the acquisition was even made. But yeah, I think you're right to identify Devontae Smith as somebody who's in a world of trouble right now.
All right, make sure you follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens. If you are listening to the podcast at any time, follow him there and check him out there at Yahoo Fantasy. Wow, already a lineup question. Big O, need 3 in a flex for PPR. Allen Robinson, Chase Edmonds, Antonio Gibson, Alan Lazard, Melvin Gordon. That is G from Pennsylvania.
Well, we've got Antonio Gibson facing the Lions, and you're going to enjoy that. So he's definitely going to play. I feel encouraged by the Chase Edmonds workload. I feel encouraged by the receiving volume. I don't want to veer away from him. I think that Allen Robinson is probably a sit coming off of not only was it a 2-target game, but one of those targets was just kind of like, that was the final play of the game. No chance to complete it. Like didn't even really count. Basically an afterthought. He's got a great matchup against Atlanta, but I don't think I could trust it. I couldn't go that route. And let's see how Melvin Gordon comes out of this week. Should be insofar as there can be smash spots for Melvin Gordon this season in running in a tandem with Javonte Williams. This should be one against Seattle. So let's see how he comes out of this, because I'm pretty tempted to just say play your running backs here.
You want to get a question in? You can send it in on our Twitter page at Big O Show, on our text line, our Welton Rayom text line, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. They're asking, has Deebo Samuel's value taken a hit because of Trey Lance's performance? Yesterday, he did all right rushing, but he was very poor in the passing game with 2 receptions for 14 yards. What do you do with Deebo Samuel?
Yeah, I would say that you have to concede that game was played in a monsoon. Terrible field conditions. Like by opening kickoff, every time anybody took a step, there were like big splash, big puddle. The field at Soldier Field is notoriously horrendous. So you had like a driving rain for a couple hours before the game started. I'm not saying throw it out entirely, but that's not what the Niners offense is going to look like when they have normal playing conditions. So I'd give that a while. And the flip side to this, of course, is that Eli Mitchell got hurt yesterday. He's got a knee injury as we speak. We don't know the exact severity of it, but we do know that he had a big old brace on it after the game. Pretty doubtful that he's going to be able to play for a week or two. Hopefully it's no more serious than that. And we know that Deebo is going to be one of their answers in the run game. It's going to be some combination of Jeff Wilson and Deebo Samuel. So everything that you liked about Deebo last year in terms of his usage, he'd get 5 targets a game, or he'd get 8 targets and he'd get 5 carries or 7 carries, right? Like he's going to be that multi-threat guy again this year. So I'd feel pretty good about him from that perspective. And I would just give it a week before we evaluate Trey Lance as a passer fully, again, because that was just such a ridiculous scenario for him yesterday.
Bears, a lot of people thought it would be David Montgomery. Any shot they might be wrong, and you might want to lean more to Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, I think we got a new coaching staff, right? Like we have new people evaluating this situation, and David Montgomery ran hard yesterday, and again in terrible conditions. But when they went to Khalil Herbert, it worked, and all of a sudden the Bears' offensive line was kind of winning at the line of scrimmage, and Herbert was making good, quick decisions, found the end zone. So I think it's completely reasonable, and I was actually going to write up Khalil Herbert as a potential pickup this week. I think he's a sneaky. Like I feel like everybody's going to be fighting for the backup running backs in these situations where, like, Najee Harris gets an ankle injury and Eli Mitchell gets a knee injury, and we're all going to be on like Jaylen Warren, and we're going to be on Jeff Wilson. And I think kind of quietly you can just slip in there and grab Khalil Herbert, and he's gonna see double-digit touches, I would imagine, moving forward, because he looked great in week 1. He looked great when he got opportunities last year. All due respect to David Montgomery, but I think they have to mix in Herbert. I think it's for the best for the Bears if they run the ball 30, 35 times a game, and that can't all go to Montgomery.
Khalil has always he always catches your eye every time he gets an opportunity, and it's almost like he's underrated or not looked upon like the guy or anything, and yet somehow or another every time he gets a shot, that's why I had to ask, because that's got to be something. All right, Damian Pierce.
Remember that guy had a big game against Tampa's run defense last year, which gave up rushing yards to no one except Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, exactly. Damian Pierce with Houston, I don't know, it's just is he really a 1 or a 2? Is he more of a 3?
This is a situation where if any game flow should have suited Damian Pierce, it was probably yesterday, right? They get a lead, they're just trying to hold them off. The run is definitely in play for Houston all day. The game ends up tied, right? The Colts had to come back on them. So that should have suited Damian Pierce, and we saw a ton of Rex Burkhead. And Rex Burkhead is like a pro's pro, right? Coaches love him. Good at football. I get it. He's not a particularly dynamic rusher, but he can do all the things. Like
injury prone. But be careful. Injury prone.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. But we also have to recognize that Damian Pierce was never a full workload guy or anything close to it in college, and we can say, well, that's a bad coaching decision. That's not really his fault, but imagining that he's just going to step into a 20 touch per game workload, having never experienced it as a collegiate player, I think was always a bit much. If he didn't get a sizable workload yesterday, like that was the game, right? Like that was the game. Let's just run out the clock. Let's feed our running backs here. He should have had a bigger workload yesterday if he was really going to pop as a star. So I don't want to bury him, but you certainly can't think of him as a number 1 or number 2 fantasy running back right now. He's still
flex at best, right? Flex at best, or your backup,
absolutely,
your first backup running back on a bye week or something. That's what I thought. AJ Dillon, the receivers suck.
Yeah.
And he warned us about this, and so they kind of showed their ugly side yesterday. Yet the big back, who you thought he was just a power runner, he's also catching some passes. So while we're watching Damian Pierce's value go down, is AJ Dillon's stock climbing?
Yeah, they chose Dillon at the goal line, right? He led the team in carries. He led the team in receptions. Not that leading the Packers in receptions yesterday really meant a whole lot of anything. 5.
That's why I had to ask, bro. I had to ask after watching that, going, well, wait a minute, what are these receivers doing? Oh my God.
By the way, I love that.
I love that kid dropped that perfect bomb. I
was just going to say, I love that Christian Watson has stepped right into the MVS role as like the guy that gets the Aaron Rodgers death stare after the unfortunate drop, right? Like Rodgers tried to avoid it too. He kind of looked up in the air. He didn't want to actually glare at the rookie, but man, what a painful moment. If you're a Bears fan, it was not at all a painful moment, but
listen, all he has to do is turn on a Marino tape. Dude, Marino was a lot worse than you, bro. Don't worry about it.
It's true.
You dropped that pass from Marino. You were never, ever going to catch a pass for the rest of that game because he wasn't going to look your way anymore at that point. Marino.
It also wasn't just a glare from Marino. Marino would chew you out.
Yeah. No, and he was brutal. Like if you failed on him, That's it, dude. You're done. Like once you lost his confidence, it's over. That's it. You had to earn his confidence. You know what I mean? A Rondé, like, obviously the Marx brothers and all that stuff, and Duriel Harris and Cephalo and all the guys they had there. Those guys were all solid players and great hands and all that. But in his latter years, Rondé earned it right away because everything he threw to Rondé, it stuck to his hands. And Rondé wasn't an explosive receiver. He was a guy that was always covered, but he was such a big physical receiver that you weren't going to win the battle in the air with him. Plus, he has hands, not had. He has hands that are like they're like a bundle of bananas. Like you shake hands with him, and your hand like disappears, and his
like, how is there?
Fingers, you're
like, is that a seventh finger?
Are like all the way over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
His fingers are here when he's shaking your hand. You're like, holy crap, dude! Like, what do you have there? It was one of those deals. Yeah. All right. So let me ask you something here off of the AJ Dillon thing. Last night, my brother, Dak Prescott goes out. That's it, right? If whoever you have offensively, is there anything to look forward to at the wide receiver or running back spot or tight end spot anymore now with the Cowboys?
There's just no fixing. There's no such thing as like a plug and play quarterback in the NFL, right? So like, there's going to be maybe they could go out and trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, as if the Niners would just give away Jimmy Garoppolo. But that, like,
I was thinking our guy. They're not going to trade Garoppolo the way Lance has played. They'll keep him now that it's a cheap contract. My guy here, Teddy Bridgewater. I think that's
but you've got Dak coming back presumably in 8 weeks. It takes time to get a quarterback up to speed, and then you have to decide if that guy's an actual difference-making quarterback, right? Do we win 4 games because we make a move for Teddy Bridgewater? I would say probably no. I don't feel that way about Garoppolo either. So I doubt they can do that. Like, it's just not. There's no easy fix at quarterback unless you already have the guy on your roster and he's been in your system and he's been in your camp and playing preseason snaps for you. Like, there's just you can't just throw somebody at it and all of a sudden the quarterback position is fixed. It doesn't work that way. So this is really bad. I don't have if anybody who's a Cowboys fan, I don't have a sunshiny story to tell here. Like, this is bad. Maybe you get 2 wins out of the next, 7 games, 8 games, something like that. But even still, like, Philadelphia looked good yesterday. Like, that offense was pretty dynamic, and the Giants pulled out a win and Washington pulled out a win. And like, this is not the year that you can stumble your way to like 9 wins in that division, perhaps. And
they got offensive line issues.
Yeah, it's really too bad because obviously the defense was really good yesterday, right? Like they sort of stonewalled Tampa when they got in the red zone. Parsons is still an absolute game wrecker. Zeke looked pretty frisky, but they also didn't, like, their offense never made it to the red zone. So and that was, Dak played a lot of the game. That was with Dak, and then obviously without Dak, it was hopeless. So I think if you're a fantasy manager, you have to seriously think about, first of all, you can cut Jalen Tolbert, who wasn't even active for the game, but you got to think about dropping almost anybody in that receiving core who isn't CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And CeeDee Lamb all of a sudden became a flex.
That was a brutal game because he dropped some balls. Like, I don't know how many drops he was credited with.
With no quarterback, he's a flex at best now.
Yeah.
He's no longer a starter. He's either a key backup, a bye week fill-in, or a flex at best right now at this point. That's how sad it is now for CeeDee Lamb, because obviously the Dak Prescott injury is a killer, but fantasy wise, oh my God, the weapons that were left there, done. It's over.
Yeah, literally 2 or 3 days ago, I was talking about CeeDee Lamb as a guy who might see, you looked at the rest of the receiving core there and you were like, man, CeeDee Lamb might get 175 targets this year. He might get 180 targets. And he started out with 11, right? But only caught 2 of them. He didn't have a good game. Obviously the Cowboys offense didn't have a good game. And now it doesn't matter. Like, these are not going to be high quality targets. There's no way that you could, like, 60 yards and a touchdown is a dream game from CeeDee Lamb at this point. So I agree with you. He can't rank anywhere near our top 25 receivers.
Follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens. Catch his work there at Yahoo Fantasy. What are you guys working over at Yahoo throughout the week so folks can check you out, my friend?
We're going to have all of our recommended pickups published tomorrow. You can find that at Yahoo Fantasy. And of course, we're going to have Fantasy Football live at 60 minutes before kickoff on Sunday.
There you go. And later on in the week, Friday at noon, our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone will feature Scott Pianowski, his partner in crime. Andy, as always, much love, my brother. Thank you for taking some time. We will catch up again next week, my friend.
Thanks, Big O. Good luck to everyone tonight.
You got it. There you go. The great Andy Behrens. And that is your Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone.
You've been listening to the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Andy Behrens. Go to sportsgrill.com to find a great location near you. Fantasy football fans, subscribe to the Big O Radio Show on YouTube and all other platforms to catch up with all our fantasy football insight provided by Scott Pianowski and Andy Behrens. Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
There we go. We thank Andy Behrens. We've got Marcel Louis-Jacques will be joining us at the bottom of the hour, and then Mike McCoy will join us at 1 o'clock. There we go. So we got it all. Let's see what we got here. MFers really think Skyler should play? No, Skyler should not play. Skyler would be very confused in a world like this right now. Mr. Spock says, what's next? Start Igmonogamy instead of Kohu? What else do we have? I guess you guys are just having conversations with yourselves here is what it seems like. Yes, that's what it looks like. It looks like a big old conversation with yourselves. If you all want to get in, you can chime in on the YouTube chat board. You can send in your questions, your comments, your complaints, your insults also on the Welt and Rayom text line. That's 855-912-1056. There's a gentleman that is hardcore and always sending texts, and I love you. But, dude, mysteriously, there's like a line that goes through your text every time. And in your paragraph, there's always one part that's really hard to read because there's this like white line that goes through it. It says, you remember the pass Jones threw that hit our DB's ass? I call it ass pass. Jones has a whole day of wounded ducks yesterday, but can you just imagine if our QB had thrown that pass that is so bad that it hit the DB in the back, but on his ass? That's true. Yeah. I mean, listen, everything's a double standard, because my buddy was like, oh, well, they weren't that good. I go, so what do you want him to do, be Mac Jones? And then he had no answer to that. And that's all you got to do is like kind of turn it around on him. There's lots of quarterbacks that didn't play great. And he actually played solid. Did a solid job. Was he fantastic? No. But he didn't have to be fantastic yesterday. I would trade him for a third-round pick. We're not Super Bowl contenders. Trade him. Love your show, Frank and Rochester. Now, I'm not saying they want to trade for him, by the way. Okay, so this is just hypothetical. We're having some fun with it because this is something that might who knows? I mean, the Cowboys, they really have to go out after a quarterback. I don't know what's available in free agency, but they're going to have to go out and actually trade for a quarterback because the guy they have, the Cooper Rush guy, give me a break, dude. That's not what you want. Somebody sent me a link, and it's got a whole bunch of scribble scrabble on it. So I have no idea what the hell they sent me there. Probably sent me something that's a virus. I think around the league today, you see most quarterbacks need a weapon at receivers. Dak, Murray, Rodgers are not doing well without weapons. Brian from Illinois. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's a weapon. But, yeah, if you look at their overall core, not impressive. I would agree with that. Jay Cutler to the Cowboys. Big O, if we scored 20 playing mostly bad, do you think we can average 28 once we start playing the way we should? I don't know. We'll see, Yonel. They got to run, my brother. They've got to fix the line in the running game. That's really the important part there. Okay? They've got to fix the line. Anthony says, Big O was watching some of the 98 Dolphins games with Jimmy Johnson. I was 8 at the time. Wow, we ran every play. The games were kind of boring, but when Marino will throw deep, so fun. Yeah, well, that's Jimmy effed up that offense completely. As good as he was defensively, finding Surtain and Madison and Zach and Jason, he was that terrible on offense. That's the amazing part of it. Okay? That's the truly amazing part. How much Jimmy sucked on offense. How terrible he was on offense. How irresponsible he was on offense. I will say this. You think about yesterday's game, you have the O-line issues still. You had O-line injuries. And you still found a way to get it done. You couldn't run the ball. Still found a way to get it done. You made enough plays in the passing game, and you made enough plays, obviously, on defense, and that put you over the top. And I love that the head coach basically told the team, hey, this is the defense's team. And to me, that I love that brutal honesty. That because it's exactly what it is, and it motivates the offense to have to do their part. Yesterday, the passing game did enough. The running game is, far from it. But again, I'm not going to go crazy on this. I'm super happy that they won. The season goes on, and hopefully the running game starts to get better and better every single week. And get to the point where it becomes a respectable running game. More importantly, you need it to become a complementary running game. That's the most important thing that they need on this offense. Mike McDaniel's offense does not work as well without the running game. Okay? So they were able to win yesterday, calling a game without their strength, because that's supposed to be their strength. Not that it would be, because we all know that it was going to be passing early on, because Tua is more established, and so are the receivers you have than your offensive line and your running game. That is not established at all. You're starting to do that from scratch. So I didn't expect it to happen yesterday. And any of you that did, you're not very realistic. So overall, let's see what happens over the next couple of weeks. If it gets better this week, if it gets better the week after that, I don't know, against Buffalo, that's going to be pretty tough. But overall, that's what you'd like to see, is some gradual improvement in that offensive line. I don't think any of us expected it to be a finished product yesterday. Obviously far from it, but you need to see some kind of improvement this week against Baltimore. Hopefully they can also get healthy too. Let's hope that the Jackson injury isn't too serious and he's all right. Although it looks like Greg Little didn't do a bad job overall. And the flexibility from the guards was actually pretty cool too at times. It was nice to have that kind of flexibility in there. Okay. Let's switch gears here. Let's talk a little Miami Dolphins. Marcel Louis-Jacques is ready to go with his myedgedrink.com Miami Dolphins report.
Time to get the edge on the Miami Dolphins with our Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins report. When you want the energy drink that's delicious and smooth with zero aftertaste, you can only order Edge Energy Drink at myedgedrink.com. That's myedgedrink.com. Here's the ESPN Dolphin insider, Marcel Louis-Jacques.
All right, there he is. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good on to Baltimore, right? Nah, we're not done breaking this one down yet. In 2 days, it'll be on to Baltimore.
All right, but before we get to that, so Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris Greer. How you doing, buddy? Doing good? Yeah, I'm doing great, Jerry. How's everything over there in Jerryville? We're struggling a little bit here. We, as you know, we kind of lost Dak Prescott. So I'm asking, is Teddy Bridgewater available? Marcel Louis-Jacques is now playing the role of Chris Greer. What does Marcel Louis-Jacques do in the role of Chris Greer?
No, not right now. Not yet.
Well, hold on, Chris. Hold on. I get it. You got a young quarterback as your third guy. Tua's coming around. But listen, how about this? Chris? We're going to make it worth your while. We're going to give you a fourth rounder there, Chris. What do you think? A fourth rounder for Teddy Bridgewater services?
It's tough. It's tough, but you got to remember, if shit hits the fan and Skylar Thompson's got to play, this is the AFC. This ain't the NFC, where the Cowboys can probably survive 6 weeks without Dak and make a push for the wild card.
Now you're insulting the guy you're negotiating with?
Not that. If the wheels fall off for the Dolphins, they don't have their first round pick.
All right, Chris.
There's no incentive to let shit snowball.
All right, Chris. Listen, I got another plastic surgery appointment here. I don't have a lot of time here. Okay, I'll better our offer. Final offer. We'll give you a third round pick for Teddy Bridgewater right now, Chris.
This is unreal. It's unrealistic. If they offer a third round pick, then yeah, sure. Go ahead and take it.
Marcel can't play the damn role. He keeps acting like Marcel Louis-Jacques, and he doesn't act like goddamn Chris Greer. I'm asking you to act like Chris Greer. Shave your head right now, too.
If they offer a third round pick, then yeah, sure. But in what world are they offering a third round pick for Teddy Bridgewater?
They gave 2 first rounders for what's the receiver from the
Amari Cooper.
No, the Seattle Seahawks back in the day. They gave 2 first rounders. They gave also, right? I think they gave was it a 2 first?
It was a first round pick for Amari Cooper.
Right. So we're talking the Cowboys, bro. Yeah, and plus, you know what? It does sound crazy, but you do have 100,000 people that go to the damn game. They have spent their money, and you have a responsibility to them. So I can almost see them also doing an act of desperation because they can't just turn around and tell their fans, oh, well, we're now tanking from here on out. The Cowboy Nation would lose their mind. Those people are used to being delusional, thinking that they can win every week and every year win the Super Bowl.
It's the Cowboys' fault. Where's Nick Mullins? Where's CJ Beathard at right now? Where's what's his name? That I really can't. Nick Foles. Where are these stopgap quarterbacks? Can you convince Ryan Patrick to come out of retirement?
Totally. That's a very intelligent response to all of that. You're right. It was poor ass planning on their part. Yeah.
Backup quarterback is one of the most important positions on your team. Yep. And they did not only did they not address it this offseason, they disregarded it. They cut their damn quarterbacks after 53-man day. They cut their quarterbacks. They said, "Look, we are confident that no one in the league is going to pick either of these people up. We are happy to cut them." That's bad. You're doing that. Like, to an extent, I understand if you're like Tom Moore said when with the Colts. There's an old story where Peyton Manning was taking every single first team snap, and somebody goes up to Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator at the time, and says, "Hey, why aren't we getting whatever the backup any reps? Why is Peyton taking any, or why is Peyton taking all 100?" And Tom Moore goes, "If 18 goes down, we're fucked, and we don't practice fucked."
Right.
So I understand that to an extent, but look, man, you have to be better prepared than this. I know for firsthand experience that Will Grier is a bad quarterback. If he has to play, all bets are off completely. Cooper Rush at least has maybe one game, I think, starting experience. Like he maybe can get the job done, but he's a 1 or 2 week kind of guy. This is a 1 or 2 month, a month and a half, 2 month stint for him this time around. It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous, but they played this dangerous game by not addressing the position this offseason. So we'll see if Jimmy Garoppolo is available after all.
Yeah, so you go with me because that's what I said. That's my point right there. 4th or 5th rounder, I'm saying, I need him because you really do need Teddy in the quarterback room because Tua doesn't have the experience Teddy has, and Tua needs Teddy around for a sounding board and all that. And plus, he's also priceless for Skyler for the next year. So I love the method behind the madness, keeping Teddy there. But if they do get to a 3rd round, that's where I have to say, well, wait a minute. The two idiot owners just cost me a 1st and a 3rd. This is my chance to get back a 3rd, and it'll be a pretty high 3rd because Teddy Bridgewater is not really going to make the Cowboys anything special as it is. So it'll be a really bad pick. And so you'll have a nice high 3rd round pick overall, and you'll make up for what you lost because of the 2 idiot owners. So you'll get that back. So to me, 3rd round is where I drew the line. Like, yeah, you have to trade him at that point and go find a veteran that's available then and bring him into the damn building or something. I don't know.
Yeah, look, again, that's why, the game stopped being a game when they offered a 3rd round pick, because you can't say no to that. That's
right.
There's the handicapping your team, and then there's capitalizing on incompetence, and a 3rd round pick for Teddy Bridgewater is incompetent ownership. You have to take that. Right. But it's just not going to happen. Like, I wouldn't expect them to part ways with Teddy.
I saw Dave Wanstead lose his running back and desperately trade a 3rd rounder for a running back named Lamar Gordon. And we were like, what? And so people do stupid things. Desperate teams do stupid things. And the Dallas Cowboys fall under that definition over and over and over again. Desperate and stupid. They've been that since Jimmy Johnson left.
You want to know desperate teams? I got a fantasy team that needs a quarterback. I'm bouncing between Jameis and Derek Carr. There's a guy in my league who's got Tom Brady and Dak Prescott. I was in his ear every damn day last week. Dude, you're never going to play Dak. Like, he wanted Javonte Williams straight up. I said, that's not going to happen. Right. Like, that's not equal value. You're not playing this guy. He's sitting on your bench. You're getting something for nothing. I will give you Miles Sanders, and I think that's more than fair. I think I said I'll give you Miles Sanders and Kareem Hunt for Dak Prescott and Chase Edmonds. I think that's more than fair. It's more than fair. And he's I don't know what Miles Sanders is going to do. I don't trust the Eagles backfield. I'm going to hang on to Dak. I'm going to He texted me last night. I was like, no.
What you do is you tell him, I'll take Dak and I'll give you like a 12th rounder next year.
He can have Khalil Herbert. Actually, you can't even have Khalil Herbert.
No. Khalil Herbert. We just had our fantasy segment, and I asked that because I think Khalil Herbert's going to be the number one there in Chicago. Montgomery shouldn't be the number one. Khalil Herbert, every time he gets a chance.
Our own Dan Graziano reported about a few weeks ago, if that, might have even been last week, that he thinks Herbert ends the season as RB1 in Chicago because they like him. They don't feel like David Montgomery is a good fit. So that's,
I totally agree with that.
Speaking of running backs, man, I read a mock draft. I want to say it was in network, but just in case, don't go looking it up. Where they had Miami taking Bijan Robinson from Texas in the first round next year with San Francisco's pick. And watching that boy play against Alabama.
Yeah, that's a little. At this point, it's a little crazy to even talk about that because we have no idea what's going to develop from now till next year, and they may desperately need another lineman, or they may desperately need something else that they want to get, and it may not be a running back. And the history of Chris Greer and company, they don't take
early running backs. No, they don't. But I was like, wow, that'd be kind of fun. Like, at first, I rolled my eyes, and then I saw him play against Alabama, and any star running back that can get yards against Alabama, it has my respect. So,
of course, amen to that for sure, dude. Amen to that. Kader Kohu, I did not realize it till last night. His impact was made on 17 snaps.
But
that's
said ridiculous. We said it in the press box as well. That is what taking advantage of your opportunity looks like.
Wow,
that's what it looks like when you have limited snaps, you have limited opportunities. That's been the whole theme of the offseason for Mike McDaniel. That's why they did the shortened practices all offseason. It's not about the number of opportunities. It is about what you do with them. Noah Igbenogany got hella snaps this offseason. Didn't do anything with him. Kader Kohu gets 17 snaps in week 1. He's got a role when Byron Jones comes back. Tell me I'm wrong.
Not only that, it's almost like we should see this coming, which sounds ridiculous. But the second Kader came off of the injured list in training camp, he caught our eye. Doing this, doing that every day. You would look at him in practice. You're like, hey, dude, did you look at this Kader guy? He made this play, made that play. And you're like, whoa. And then the preseason games, all of a sudden he's getting that deflected pass in the middle of the field. And you're like, yo, dude, who is this kid? And all of a sudden you watch him in 17 plays. He makes 2 of the most impactful plays in the entire game.
Oh, it's wild here. Looking at his participation on Next Gen, 17 snaps on defense, 1 on special teams.
Yeah.
He was brought in. He was active to play defense. Elijah Campbell, 11 snaps on special teams, 4 on defense. Justin Bethel, 15 on special teams, 0 on defense. Keon Crossan, 15 on D, 13 on special teams. Kader's snap count was more aligned with the Javon Holland and Brandon Joneses of the world, where you might run on special teams if we need you to, but you're here to play defense. It's huge. The way the instincts to read that play, jarring the ball loose from it was Nelson Aguilar there on the fumble recovery. The instincts to see that play coming and not just put yourself in the right position to make a play on the ball carrier, but to angle your body to put shoulder pad directly on the ball. It wasn't any question the legality of that hit. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. The kid's got to roll. Willing tackling. The kid's got to roll. Even when
I told you yesterday, I'm starting him over Needham on the outside. He's the better athlete on the outside. Needham is not fit for the outside. I believe he's a terrific slot guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. And let me tell you something. Poupart took it to a next level, which I agree with him on that. He then followed up. He said, when Jones comes back, look out that Cater doesn't challenge Needham for the slot, because the athleticism he adds to that position, which is amazing for a guy that's not big. He gets up there. What he did with Hunter Henry, that's stuff that's the stuff you can't teach. That's the God-given ability that kid has. So yeah, I agree with him. I agree. I would start him on the outside, but when Jones comes back, I wouldn't be surprised if he's challenging Nick Needham for the inside. That's how good this kid has played.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see it first. Needham's going to have to lose the job before Cole can come take it, but I think he's got a role. He's a rotational player now. He's going to be the active corner on game day. He's going to be that active. What is it? The fourth corner on game day now. Although Keon Crossan is still
monogamy. Get your popcorn ready, because you will be sitting for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's done. that's wrap.
Yeah, it'd be too irresponsible to even try to play him now at this point. It'd just be, now you did what you had to do in the preseason and training camp. You gave the kid every opportunity to shine and win the job over. He failed. Now you don't have any more time for that. Now you need the people that are going to make plays for you and the people you're going to count on. And right now you have to say, I can count on Cater Kohu, but I cannot count on Noah. That's just,
he earned his opportunity, man. He earned the next one, man. That's all you can ask. That's all you can ask. So no, I was really impressed with him.
And we got to talk to him on Wednesday, because they on the show they gave him a new name, Darth Cater.
Darth Cater.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Why get rid of? I don't know if there's a grammatical issue here. Why get rid of Byron Jones when you have Kohu on a rookie undrafted steal of a contract?
Why would you get rid of Byron Jones right now? You need as many corners as possible. There's a passing league, dude.
I can't tell if he's asking why people would do that, or
maybe they're just talking. Why get rid of Byron when you have Kohu and no? But they're probably talking amongst each other. That's probably what happens. When they're asking us, they will address it as Big O or Marcel, and then they'll put their question after that. But there's a lot of, on that chat board, there's a lot of going back and forth amongst each other there too. And
they're not getting rid of. There is an out on Byron Jones next year or after this season. Right. There is an out. I don't think that they have. I wouldn't be comfortable at this point. I mean, it's week one. On this point, comfortable at this point saying he can go and keep him, pay him all the damn money. Might as well.
No. I'm keeping him.
You went through it as Xavier Howard to sign this man. Nah, you squeeze everything you can out of that contract.
No. Plus, you need him to be better, bro. You're going to face 3-4 receiver sets. You need as many corners as possible. So Kohu and Needham. In fact, you kind of need a fifth guy. So hopefully Crossan can actually get it done. You know what I mean? So that's just
this is why, and I don't remember the exact date, but we had the conversation at some point this summer where I was saying, like, it is a massive deal that Noah couldn't be active on game day, couldn't even be active on game day in the past or yesterday. Like it's
well, yesterday's the indictment, right? It was an issue last year. Yesterday was the indictment. Like, okay, it's over, done. You're finished. That's what that was yesterday. You're going to be on the back end of the roster for the rest of the year, and you're going to have to show something in practice like they've never seen before. But that's bad, man, because he's basically playing for training camp next year is what he's doing now. He's done.
Yeah, that fifth year is dead. That option is not happening.
Oh
So,
no, yeah, there's no reason to pick up an
been
option.
dead, but like he could have salvaged it here with a good training camp and a good first 4 games. But nah.
He killed it. He killed it off. I'm with you there. All right, one more thing before I let you go. After watching the line, obviously that is one thing that they really had. You know, Mike McDaniel's offense doesn't really flow until they actually have flow in the running game. And so yesterday they did what they did in the passing game, but they did it on Mike McDaniel-like, because really in McDaniel's comfort zone, he's playing the pass off the run. So Marcel, it's only the first game, so I get it. But what do they got to do, man, is start making some gradual, progress in that direction to get the running game to complement the passing game.
It's tough because, we heard Mike say that he wants to run the ball between 20 and 30 times. They got, I believe it was 21 carries yesterday, 65 yards, most of which came on that Raheem Mostert burst at the end of the game.
Right.
But what I'm inclined to believe, because it's just week 1, so my tinfoil hat theory is defenses now know, okay, we can't play the Dolphins like that anymore. Like we have to respect their ability to throw the ball. And as defenses respect the ability to throw the ball, the box is going to lighten up a little bit. And Edmonds and Mostert will find their lanes. So I think it'll soften as the year goes on. Especially if, you can't sell out to stop this run game. Eventually they're gonna have to sell out to stop the pass, because that's kind of looking like, even though McDaniel wants to start on the ground and work his way up, it kind of feels like the strength of this team is the other way around. And, I don't think that he's smart, man. He's not so stubborn that he's going to keep trying to put a square peg to a round hole. If it becomes absolutely clear, look, we can't establish the run. We have to establish our game through the air first. He's going to tailor the offense around that. Like, so I don't know if you can just say it. I don't know if we can sit here and expect them to force the issue on the ground. I think if it happens, it happens. But I think their strength is through the air, man. Their strength is through the air. I didn't really understand the discourse on Tua. I'm about to throw the game on after this and just kind of chart his throws a little bit and watch his throws again. I think there were a couple times where he hung onto the ball a beat too long.
Yeah. He's got to fix it. He had a couple brain fart moments that could turn into turnovers. He's got to learn, when the play is dead, it's dead, bro. Stop trying to stretch it out. Go down to the ground, take the sack. That's how you get injured. That when he's trying to fight through some tackle and all this, that's how you get injured. Either throw the goddamn ball away or take the sack, my brother, and that's it. Don't fight it anymore. That's one thing that I will say. As much as I'm a Tua guy and I believe in the kid, but young quarterbacks have to learn some things. They're going to make mistakes. Dude, Joe Burrow threw 4 interceptions yesterday. You're going to, nothing's going to be smooth. You're going to have your rough patches. You got to but he's had those moments where he has those brain fart moments that he just doesn't want to let the play go. Dude, let it go. It's dead. You're done.
It's a normal thing for quarterbacks, young quarterbacks to do. And it's normal against Bill Belichick defenses. I think it was a creative defense yesterday because they didn't blitz all that much. They got a lot of pressure, 6 pressures on Tua, just sending forward. I think there was a point where they sent Matt Judon on a stunt. Judon was a nightmare throughout the game. I think he had 4 pressures by himself. They sent Judon on a stunt up the middle. He got to Tua untouched, got around Greg Little and Rob Hunt. They were good. Like the Patriots defense was good yesterday. Their front 7 was good yesterday. Like, let's not take that away. Like, but we've seen what they could do to Tua. We saw what Tua looked like in week 1 and week 18 last year against New England. He wasn't good in either of them. I know they won both games.
He was better yesterday.
And I thought he was solid yesterday. He took care of the ball. He took what was there. He didn't make any game-ending, game-changing plays that hurt them. The game-changing play forward was the 4th down conversion to Waddle. Like he took his spots. He was safe with the ball, with the exception of the one near interception that Tyreek bailed him out of. I don't know what, like, I think people maybe got so caught up in the hype, and I think my laptop's gonna die soon. They got so caught up in the hype of the bombs during training camp. They expected him to come out here and look like damn Pat Mahomes right away and Josh Allen right away. That's not his game. It's rarely going to be his game. So
no, that's not his game.
That is what we're gonna kind of see from Tua. You know what I mean? What's 23 of 33? Somebody give me the percentage in the comments, man. But I'm gonna guess it's somewhere around 68.
104. He had a 104 quarterback rating. He's fine, bro. He did a fine job yesterday. He was solid. He didn't cost you the game. He helped you win the game, and he threw the money pass on 4th and 7 to end the game because that was the kill shot. That was the kill shot.
It's funny. It's funny because I think Belichick said it. I was reading the New England column, and again, sorry if I cut out here. My laptop's on, I think 9%. But I'll end with this. Belichick said, it was really 1, 2, or 2 or 3 plays that changed the game. Welcome to the NFL. Welcome to the NFL. It's 2 or 3 plays every damn game that you could point at and say that was the key in the game.
Yep.
It's always 3. Mike Adams, Pops Adams, a former safety NFL for the Texans and the Panthers. When I first started covering the league, we sat in his locker, and that's what he taught me. That look, man, like these games are always close. It's just a matter of 3 plays that are going to make the difference. The pick in the end zone, the fumble 6, and the 4th down touchdown. Who gives a shit how it happened? They happened. That's it. Those were your 3. So again, people, you're splitting hairs here. We're too focused on the how and not focused enough on the what. The what is Tua was safe with the ball. The Dolphins defense was strong when it needed to be. It created turnovers. They won 3-0 in that department, and they made the splash plays. They made more of those game tide turning plays than the other team did, and that's how you win football games. It's that simple.
Don't forget, you can order the finest energy drink on the planet. Go to myedgedrink.com. Delicious, smooth, 0 aftertaste, and only 78 calories. You can't get it in a store. You got to get it right online. Go to myedgedrink.com. Perfect elixir for a little vodka, a little rum. I promise you it's going to blow you away, and it is absolutely delicious, smooth, and 0 aftertaste. Use our code BIG-O to get 10% off at myedgedrink.com. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ and catch his exceptional work over at ESPN and twice a week here. Marcel, as always, thank you, my friend. Have a fantastic, safe week.
Appreciate it. I will see you Thursday from God knows where I'll be, somewhere in the deep south on the road.
You got it, baby. We'll see you Thursday. Be good. There you go, the great Marcel Louis-Jacques.
You now have the edge on the Miami Dolphins with the Edge Energy Drink Miami Dolphins Report featuring ESPN's Marcel Louis-Jacques. Get the energy drink that's delicious and smooth with 0 aftertaste. You can only order Edge Energy Drink at myedgedrink.com. That's myedgedrink.com.
For John C. says, I may be wrong, but when Marino played, there was no out-of-the-box throw it away. He had to throw to a receiver in the area. John C., I love you. Thank you for the donation and everything on the super chat. But as a guy that covered Marino's, well, not covered, but watched entire Marino's career and covered the back end of his career because I've been around for a while, Marino was the first guy to throw the ball away. So, no, he did not have to do that. So you are wrong, sir. He threw it away plenty of times. In fact, I used to have to battle with fans that used to be pissed that he threw it away. And I try to explain to him that he's throwing it away so he doesn't take a sack for loss so he can live for the next play because then he's going to burn him. And Luke K., thank you for the love in the super chat. Says, Big O, love the show. Big fan from Mexico City. Great to listen to those big balls, bold statements, and answers to who deserves them. Vamonos, Dolphins. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, it is time, baby, to get down to the real McCoys. Mike McCoy. There you go. How you doing, Mike? You doing all right?
Not bad, man. Not bad for a Monday. How are you?
I am doing great, bro. The Canes won. The Dolphins won. So it's a great weekend overall, my brother.
Notre Dame lost. The Gators lost.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, let's go over the Canes win. And obviously we can talk a little bit about the App State win over Texas A&M, which is Miami's next opponent. And remember, Mike and myself will have, along with Sean and Chad, we will have our pre and post game coverage on Saturday night. We will start off at 7 p.m. for the pregame show leading up to the 9 o'clock kickoff, and we're going to have all kinds of stuff going on during those 2 hours. So we'll get you ready for it, and then we'll have a very late post-game show, too, at the same time. All right, so, Mike, first of all, you've had a couple days to kind of digest, see what the coach had to say about the game and all of that. Your general thoughts about the win over Southern Miss.
General thoughts, what stood out to me the most is the adjustments that were made at the halftime. Obviously, I wasn't in the locker room, but there were clearly adjustments made. Miami hit adversity for the first time this season, and it's good that it happened at home against that opponent versus on the road at Kyle Field versus that opponent. So not to say that it's not going to happen on Saturday, but at least Miami got a taste of it. And we know what Miami's going to lean on when it faces some type of adversity, and that is the run game, at least offensively. That's what they're going to lean on. So that was good to see. Another thing I got to kind of digest was Van Dyke noticing that he did not play his best game, took ownership of that. Yesterday, he brought that up. And just overall, everybody getting better. I was listening to the press conferences earlier today, and, we'll talk about that shortly. But Miami knows that it's in for a task, especially because A&M lost. And it was going to be a tough game either way because everybody shows up for Miami, but it's going to be that much tougher after a loss and at home against a team that you were not supposed to lose to in App State.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Obviously, we'll get to that one and maybe some of the pressure it puts on Miami. Some of the things like, let's say, the offensive line play. Your thoughts on the offensive line play in this game?
The offensive line play was, if I was to give it a grade, I'd say C at best. You know what I mean? This is an opponent that everybody knew was a step up in competition, but you still should have dominated. I mean, credit to Southern Miss. Everybody knew that they were going to come with different pressures. That's what their very, very young 29-year-old defensive coordinator does. They blitz half the time. And even Mario said, we got to give them credit because there are some things that they threw at us that, kind of got us. So, the O-line needs to deal with that pressure. I mean, they just got to communicate better. Flat out, they got to communicate better. I'm wondering what the line is going to look like because remember, Zion Nelson did not start. He played some, did not start. But if he starts, that whole lineup's going to shift around. He's going to start at left. Campbell, who started at left, will probably move to right. Scaife, who started at right, will probably be moved inside to right guard. And then the middle will stay the same in between Rivers and Ja'Kai Clark, who is okay. I know that that was last week, actually, yeah. But that whole O-line seems to be intact. That will be the O-line from left to right, assuming Zion Nelson starts.
Just got to make sure Ja'Kai stops blocking once you get to the, boundary there. And then, once we're out of bounds, you might want to stop blocking over by the benches. I mean, that was a little rough there on that one. But
I love the effort, but it cost us 7 points.
Yeah. You want to send the message, but dude, that's a little too much of a message there on that one, bro. That was like that was a lot there, brother. I mean, that was rough there. All right, so listen, a win's a win. They got the win. They got it done. The other thing that I talked about throughout the game, and we talked a little bit about it in the post-game show, I just think that the UM fan, it's hard for them to be patient, but whether you like it or not, you're going to have some patience because I run into too many of these Canes fans that think that Mario, because you've got this commitment or that commitment, they literally think that their commitments in the future have made enough of a difference that right now they're going to be competing with Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson, all that. And it is just so unfair and unrealistic. And people have to be a little bit more patient with Mario and give him some time because him and Mirabal are not going to fix this offensive line and everything else overnight. It's going to take some time, dude. They got to be patient.
there were boos in the game on Saturday. And look,
know.
I'm not telling people how to be a fan. You fan how you want, but you look stupid booing in a fan. Second game of the season, all right? And knowing the situation, you got what you wanted in the head coach that you wanted. Miami's spending money now. It's an all-star staff, okay? But it's just you look like an idiot. I'm going to straight up tell you, you look like an ass doing that. But it is what it is. Go ahead and look like an ass if you want to. Nonetheless, Miami was aware of the boos, and it's going to be tough at A&M. They're not going to be boos on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of loud noises, all right, and screaming. And Coach Gaddis, I'm sorry, not Coach Gaddis, Coach Steele spoke of how loud it could get there, and even in the headsets in the booth, he said that he had a hard time hearing sometimes. So Miami's got to be prepared for that. But yeah, there's no overnight fix for this. Miami is definitely a better team now than they were at the conclusion of last season. Yes, but to be a top 4, top 5, top 6 team, no, not yet. And I also have good reason to believe that this game on Saturday will not mirror anything what it did last year in Atlanta versus Alabama.
No, hopefully they'll put up a better fight overall. Now, I got to say, I watched that game. I wasn't really impressed with the quarterbacking in the offense in the passing for Texas A&M. So, maybe Miami can make this thing interesting.
Miami will make it interesting. I don't know if A&M is going to be held to less than 200 yards of total offense like they were on Saturday versus Appy State, because like you said, or like everybody is saying, you're going to want to put out a better performance, and it's Miami coming into the building. Whatever it was, whether it was scheme, whether it was you took the opponent lightly, they got held under 200 total yards. That's not going to happen again on Saturday. So people saying, oh, App State held them under 200 yards. Okay. It's not going to happen 2 times in a row. But, yeah, that A&M team, they're going to be ready to play. And that quarterback, I mean, coming into the season, he had 1 career start, played in 7 games, and don't be surprised if there is a quarterback change. If you're going to ask me, I don't think there will be. I really don't think there will be, but don't be surprised if there is one, and maybe even mid-game. Jimbo's not afraid to pull that trigger.
Oh, no, for sure. For sure. I'm with you there, but it's just I wasn't that impressed with them. A great storyline that the quarterback for App State was a backup there at Texas A&M. I did not realize it until watching the game, and then they were, talking about some of the storylines in that game.
Yes.
So that was one hell of a moment. All right, I'll let you go with this, Mike McCoy. Remember, you can catch him tomorrow, the Miami Hurricanes Watch from 8 to 9 p.m. He'll be rocking out there, so make sure you tune in here to the platform from 8 to 9. You look at the way the team played, right? And they end up getting the win. Now Texas A&M gets the loss. How much more pressure does it put on Miami? How much more unrealistic can Miami fans get? Because they're already booing the team as it is. So they're almost, because you're going to have a certain group of Miami fans that they're expecting a win because they struggled and lost to App State.
Right.
And so if you struggled and lost to App State, you definitely should be losing to the University of Miami. So there becomes this, there's this unrealistic pressure that is developing for the Canes, and it's really not their fault, but that's kind of some of the storylines we're going to be dealing with on Saturday.
100% to the idiot fan that thinks like that. But I'm going to tell you about that pressure that you want to talk about, because the pressure is from the outside. It's not on the team that there's going to be feeling pressure. I'm going to tell you the pressure that Miami's that's going to be applied to Miami, but they're honestly not feeling that pressure, and I'm confident in saying that. I'm going to tell you why. The pressure is going to be from outside fans saying Florida won their big game against Utah, FSU won their big game against LSU. Miami, it's time for them to step up like you have to. And I have to admit, I'm the one that said you got to win that game now. You got to win that game now. And then after what happened, that was 2 weeks ago, after Utah lost at Florida, after FSU went into NOLA and beat LSU. But after this week, I'm definitely thinking it's going to be a lot tougher because of the loss. That being said, those are the reasons why I think there's going to be pressure on there, and on Miami. But I honestly don't think they're going to feel it, because they know, listening to the press conferences, post game and everything like that, they're going into this with a business trip mindset. They know exactly what they need to do to get better. But this is what I'm going to be focused on in this game. Mario was asked about the A&M offense, and he said, I'm quoting it as follows. It says they've got big speed. Quote me. I'm sorry, quoting Mario. They've got big speed all over the place. By big, he meant physically. Their tight ends are very versatile, a very, very dangerous offense. We're aware of their capabilities. The first thing I thought of when he said that was Miami's linebacker coverage. All right. And how they're going to combat that. Don't know how much flag is going to play into that. Maybe this is a situation where we see a lot more James Williams closer to the line, taking on tight ends. We'll probably see a lot more Tay if that's the case. Blades has been playing safety. So that's something that I wanted to touch on. And the other part at A&M that Gaddis said in the today's interview, press conference, he said the biggest thing that stands out when you look at this game is time of possession. Texas A&M is a team that's very explosive. You have to make sure you're holding onto that ball. That's how App State won. So what does that tell you? Miami's got to establish that offensive line. It's got to be a key to their victory. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to see a lot more TVD throwing, which this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you don't want to become one-dimensional against.
I don't know if you want to put those receivers as the reason why you need to win the game. So no,
that too.
You've got to get that running game going so you can, and you're pretty rich at running back. You've got guys that can make some plays. So
right.
Get that line going, get that momentum going, and hopefully you can get a win. Follow him, by the way, on Twitter at UM_radio_Mike. And you can catch him tomorrow, Mike McCoy, of course, hosting the Miami Hurricanes Watch. Lance Leggett, I believe, is going to join you tomorrow, right?
Correct, sir.
There you go. And he'll have his real McCoys also for the game. He'll name the 3 real McCoys of the game. So all kinds of stuff going on. And the Miami Hurricanes Watch tomorrow night from 8 to 9 p.m. Mike, as always, thank you, my brother. Have some fun tomorrow night.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You got it. There you go. That's your Hurricanes wrap. Over the weekend, we went 1-2 with our A. Lenny Locksmith Lockdown segment. Why don't we give you our pick for tonight's ALennyLocksmith.com Lockdown segment?
Time to lock it down. The Lockdown is brought to you by ALennyLocksmith.com. Services in South Florida from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, ALennyLocksmith.com locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Here's the Big O to tell you what needs to be locked down.
We're 32, 23-2 after going 1-2. Unfortunately, over the weekend, the Dolphins came through for us. The Miami Hurricanes absolutely failed. We went with over 51. They only scored 37. We gave the 26.5 points. Well, they only won by 23. So University of Miami failed us 0-2 on Saturday. We gave you the Dolphins -3.5. They comfortably won 20-7. So they easily covered. We ended up 1-2, which puts our record at 32, 23-2 against the spread in our last 57 games. Still a pretty damn good record, but it's slipping a little bit. We got to pick it up. Next Saturday, UM will take on Texas A&M. We're not picking that game yet. I'm going to go with tonight's game. All right, I'm going to go with the Broncos and the Seahawks at 8:15 on ESPN or ABC. Broncos are favored by 6.5. The Seahawks over and unders 44. Broncos are -285 on the money line, and the Seahawks are +240 on the money line. I'm going Broncos -6.5. I think they will easily win by a touchdown. The Seahawks are not trying to win. They don't have the quarterbacks. They didn't even bother to go searching for a quarterback. And with Geno Smith and company, you are not winning anything whatsoever. The Denver team, I think, is slightly overrated with Russell Wilson. It was a great pickup for them to get Russell Wilson, but I don't believe that Denver team is as good as it's been in the last couple of years, specifically 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, where I think you had a Super Bowl caliber defense. I don't believe you have that Super Bowl caliber defense anymore. We shall see. But I still think you have more than enough to beat the Seahawks by a touchdown. The Seahawks are a bad team. I think you're going to win by 10 points in this one, easy. So I'm going to lay the 6.5 here with the Broncos. And we're going to get back on track here and get a win. Broncos minus 6.5 versus the Seahawks in our A. Lenny Locksmith lockdown segment.
The Lockdown is brought to you by ALennyLocksmith.com. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them anywhere in South Florida at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at ALennyLocksmith.com where we lock it down.
All about locking it down. Marlins have lost 2 or 3 to the Mets over the weekend. They're now 57-82. The more I see it, the more they're going to get close to 100 losses, dude. They're playing right now with Texas. Glenn Otto and Trevor Rogers on the mound. Inter Miami, I'm watching their playoff hopes. I had hopes for them. I had some faith in them. I thought they were turning it around. Hell, I thought they would hold on to either the 5th or 6th spot. They have dropped all the way down to 9 now. They lose to Chicago 3-1. Higuain with the only goal in the 77th minute. They fall to the 9th spot with 36 points. Columbus, by the way, climbs into the 7th spot with 41 points. So they're 5 points ahead of Inter. And Inter also there's another team in between in the 8th spot because they're in 9. So they have to leapfrog that team to get to number 7. Well, guess what? They're in action tomorrow. And who do you think they play? They play Columbus, the team they're trying to catch. Now, that team is up by 5 points, so even in a loss, they're not going to catch up. But if you plan on catching up, this is how you're going to catch up. You need to win here. You lose this game, you're pretty much done. Okay? You're pretty much close to done already at this point. Man, they had their chance. What a choke job by these players. Holy crap. So tomorrow night they take on Columbus at 8 o'clock. We'll see what happens there. Also, if I'd be remiss if I did not mention Papua New Guinea. Thoughts and prayers to all the folks out there. 7.6 earthquake hit. I know they have like 3 dead already, which, considering the size of the earthquake, you would think more, but I saw that this morning, and man, scary stuff. Every day is a blessing, ladies and gentlemen. John C., thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. Very nice of you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Keeping that love on the super chat. And remember, you can also reach out to us on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Mike No Go Zone says, agree. Inter Miami crap the bet again. I mean, the choke job that has gone on with Inter in the last couple of games has been embarrassing, dude. It's hurt me, bro. Hurt me big time. Mike No Go Zones, that whole Instagram thing, is that real? I need to know that I'm not being faked out here, by the way. So just tell me that it is a new Instagram. So I just want to make sure, because I was actually going to send you a text to ask you today, hey, dude, I got this DM, and is it, did you really get hacked, or what's the deal? So if you got hacked, tell me so I know to follow that, because I did not follow it yet because I wanted to hear from you. Yeah, that's okay, it is. Okay, good. It's official Mike No Go Zones on Instagram. So if you're following Mike No Go Zones on Instagram, follow him at official Mike No Go Zones, right? I think that's how you put the new name, if I'm correct. Trying to remember. Read it last night. When sports and business collide, we like doing something on this show called the KSDT CPA Sports Business Report. a couple of years back when the NFL was having its issues with concussions, I was one of those guys that was thinking, hey, man, this concussion thing is going to hurt the NFL. And so far, it doesn't look like it has. I'm sure some young people aren't playing football. Their parents aren't letting them and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that's changed a little bit, but it hasn't hurt. And then you've got the pandemic, right, going on. Then you've got Cuban in the NBA talking about, Cuban said back, he predicted eight years ago that the greedy NFL would implode within a decade, quipping, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Well, the greed is good, as Gordon Gekko would say, for those of you that know the Wall Street movie, because the NFL, man, it's 365 days a year. The NFL didn't generate an estimated $18 billion in gross revenue last year by respecting boundaries or anything else along those lines. They crossed everything. They've crossed over into Christmas Day. They will do whatever they have to do. They're going to platforms, all of that stuff. And most of their games are still on free television. Okay? So they're still doing all of this by still doing the right things and giving people the games free at night, free on regular television. So while Cuban was thinking that the NFL would suffer, and by the way, me too, I thought a little bit, the concussion thing a couple of years ago, I thought that was going to hurt them too. Well, NFL TV audiences at that time were dropping 8 to 10% respectively during the 16 and 17 seasons. Since then, the NFL's already enormous TV numbers has headed north. During the 2021 season, the average game audience rose 10% to 17.1 million, the highest average in 6 years. The NFL fans, 370 billion total minutes of content in 2021, up 18% from last year. NFL games accounted for 48 of the 50 most watched telecasts. Let me say that again. NFL games accounted for 48 of the 50 most watched telecasts. Telecasts. That's anything. Movies, shows, you name it. Telethons. I don't care what it is. Football owned 48 of 50. I'm kind of intrigued to find out what are the two that made it in the 50 outside of football games. Sunday Night Football has reigned as Primetime's #1 TV show for a record 11 straight years. Oh, by the way, what happened to you silly gooses? Oh, I'm not watching the NFL anymore. They're kneeling during my football game. You're all watching again. And you're all watching in record numbers. And by the way, your foolishness on the kneeling, that happened in pregame. That never happened during the game. They weren't doing it during the first quarter or the second quarter. They weren't doing it in the third quarter. They weren't doing it in the fourth quarter. They weren't doing it in overtime. I've never seen a bigger overreaction than the silliness of some of you out there that were bothering yourselves because of kneeling. And then the dumbest argument that you would come up with, oh, I don't want it during my game. It wasn't during your game, asswipe. It was in pregame. That's when the national anthems played. It's not played during the game, idiot. And by the way, you ran your mouth, tough guy, tough girl, and you folded like a cheap tent, and you came right back because you love football. So stop talking crap. You're all watching the game again. Oh, I'm not watching anymore because they're kneeling during my football game. Bunch of liars. So, it ain't kneeling. It ain't a pandemic. It ain't Mark Cuban. It ain't concussions. Nothing is stopping the NFL from absolutely dominating. You can have controversies. You can have crime against women. Nothing stops the NFL. It is as Teflon as it gets. So there you go. Sunday night TV is rubbish overall. Yeah, well, but it's number one. Number one rubbish, my brother. That's all that matters, really. Whether you like the game or not, it doesn't really matter. Excuse me. That, my friends, is your KSDT Sports Business Report. And don't forget, you can call my friends at KSDT at 305-670-3370. Forensic accounting and business valuation, management advisory services, healthcare advisory, property management, wealth management. It's not just about the taxes personally or for your business. They do so much to help your business grow, to help sell your business, to buy a business. There are so many different, they can help you with payroll. They can help you in so many different ways. KSDT CPAs, offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you, man. I promise you. 305-670-3370.
This has been the KSDT Sports Business Report. KSDT CPA is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax and accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit online at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right. Big O, how does a football game end with a showering of the coach? And then there's people with negativity out there. Robert, notice how I didn't really hang on too much of that. I did too much of it yesterday in the postgame show with all the negative idiots. To me, it's just, brother, they won. They look good. Everybody overall played well. They got to fix a little bit of the running game. Hopefully they'll fix that. And that's it. And I'm ready to go. And let's go have fun. And let's see what happens in Baltimore this week. And if they lose, I guess the sky will fall and fire Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer's an idiot and Tua sucks and whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to enjoy my football team. All right. I love my Dolphins. I'm glad that they won. If they don't do things the right way, I will be the first one to tell you that I don't think they're doing something the right way. But at the moment, I love everything that they're doing, and I don't expect Mike McDaniel to fix everything right away. But eventually, I think he'll get this thing going in the right direction. And like I said yesterday, I have seen a team that has been prepared for all the stages, for practice, for practices against other teams, scrimmages, for preseason games, and his first regular season game. What I noticed was his team was prepared every single time, better prepared than his opponent. And I don't care who it was in the preseason. I don't care if it was the Bucs. They frustrated Brady. I don't care if it was the Eagles. They outplayed them for 2 days. And in the game, the only guy that didn't see it was Danny Cannell. Okay? And watching him now in this Patriot game, Mike McDaniel and his staff was better prepared than Bill Belichick and his staff. Mike McDaniel's players outplayed Bill Belichick's players. I can't ask for any more than that. I'm not here for style points. The win and loss column has a number that goes in it. There's no other number. Okay? This isn't school where you had an A1A because they're also grading your conduct and all that stuff. No. It's a win or it's a loss. That's how it goes in the column. And when I go look at the standings, I see the Bills and the Dolphins tied for first. I see the Patriots and the Jets in last place. You know what I say to that? I like it. I'm good. And hopefully next week, they're 2-0 and they keep pace with the Bills. That's all. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to enjoy what's going on. I love what I see from these Miami Dolphins. Hopefully it gets better. All right, we got to thank Ira Winderman, Alan Poupart, Andy Behrens, Marcel Louis-Jacques, and Mike McCoy. As always, I thank Sean, the man that masters this program every single day, getting it done. All of you that tuned in, thank you so much for always tuning in and supporting us in a big-time way. Appreciate you all. Please hit the like button. Please share the show with others out there. Share the link. Tell other Canes fans, Dolphin fans, Inter Miami fans, Marlins fans, Panther fans, you name it. We're here to cover it. Miami Heat fans. So make sure you tell them about the best platform that covers all of South Florida sports with more insiders than any other platform or station combined, by the way. So we're getting it done here, and we're working hard for you guys. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Love you all.
This is the Big O Show.